Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. It is October 19th. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is Stephen Jensen, and shout out to Big Dick MLJ as always for the intro. Jensen, how you doing on this beautiful, I assume, Thursday?
Yeah, it is. It seems like it's pretty nice out. I just kind of woke up getting going for my day. Talk some wrestling before the shoot job, but things are going good, man. Looking forward to watching some football a little bit later. And speaking of, you owe me a drop kick still. So
drop kick.
Sorry, leg drop. I'm sorry.
Okay, so here's what I've decided on this. We didn't get into this last week. It's been a couple of weeks now. When the Panthers played the Vikings in a game that allegedly happened, because I'm not sure any Panthers game has actually happened this season, because that would imply there's a football game, and I'm not sure what I've been watching is football. It's some other foreign sport that I don't recognize. The Vikings won, as I think most people suspected, because the Panthers are a terrible team. So I did say we tried to figure out what we were going to do and stuff, and Sean actually suggested a psychosis leg drop off of my roof, which I'm not doing that. That's
good idea, though. Really good suggestion.
Yeah, not doing that. Here's what I'll do. I'm not going to do a leg drop. I'm not doing it off my roof.
Sure.
I will do an elbow drop, a flying elbow drop. I don't know about flying. I'll do an elbow drop because I'm going to prove that I have a better elbow drop than CM Punk.
I was about to say, because it really depends on if you're going to go for just the standard Randy Savage, where you go up and kind of pose, which I think is the GOAT, all time. Not only the best elbow drop, the best finishing move in wrestling history. Randy Savage specifically, his elbow drop off the top, the best. But then you got Shawn Michaels, if you want to do kind of the thing, with little clap going down to it. But CM Punk is that's different because he kind of does So as long as you land on your feet and hips and stuff before you hit the ground, I think it'll look just like him. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that elbow drop. I think that's a good compromise. I even messaged you right after the game. I was like, dude, just protect your tailbone, because.
So I'm doing this. I'm not. Here's the thing. When I did that psychosis leg drop, I framed it so well that you could not see the giant mess of pillows that I landed on. So it looked like I just landed straight up on the floor. But no, I'm not that stupid. I do a lot of dumb things, but I was not going to do a leg drop off of a chair onto just an exposed floor. I had some pillows down there to protect myself. That's why I was able to pop up so quickly and act fine. I will land on some type of padding, especially if I'm going to do this outside. I don't know what I'm gonna jump off of yet. I will have to figure that out, but I will. Yeah, I'm landing on some type of padding for this. But I'll do an elbow drop. I think we should be able to pull this off live at some point. My lovely wife will have to hold the camera for this to happen, and we'll figure it all out. But it'll happen. I promise. I'm a man of my word, and I'm a man of doing stupid things. So I will deliver an elbow drop for the people on this show at some point in the near future.
Appreciate that. Give me just 1 second. I forgot I have my heat on still. This unit's going to be loud. I'm going to turn this off real quick before we get rolling. Give me just 1 second.
Everybody, thanks for joining us this morning. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed to the channel. And you can leave a super chat as well. You can leave a super chat. Get your question, comment, statement read on air. Caden sends a super chat. It says, ringside was very fun last night. Omega was special. I didn't see you get gum spit on you, Caden. So that's a positive for this time. You just kind of talked with Kenny Omega. But yeah, no gum spit at you. So that's always a good thing, right?
Dude, but Omega is special. Like that, I've been saying for a while, and we'll get into AEW talk here in a second, but I've been saying for a while that Kyle Fletcher, I think, is going to be like a massive breakout, like single star eventually. And that really, like his match with Omega last night, you could really see like foreshadowing in that. So like, and Omega, yeah, Omega is still one of, if not the best, like in-ring wrestlers in the world. I think guys like him, Ospreay, Speedball, like those are the kind of guys in the conversation right now. Omega is just incredible.
Well, Kyle Fletcher has to quit the business now because he lost to Kenny Omega, according to Don Callis. He's never going to accomplish anything in life because he's now lost to Kenny Omega. So if Don Callis has his way, Kyle Fletcher will not be in the business any longer.
Yeah. Let's see how that goes.
Now, Omega is special, and they're setting up. I don't know if you saw this, Jensen, but MJF was announced for next Saturday's Collision. Omega was just announced for next Saturday's Collision. They had a little interaction backstage. MJF said 13 days. That's when he's going to break Omega's record for longest reigning AEW World Champion. So they might be setting up a potential match for next Saturday between Omega and MJF to see if Omega can stop MJF from breaking the record. Basically, I thought that when they really leaned into the free agent of 2024, they've kind of pulled back on that. But I thought when they really started leaning into that, I thought this would be a late year feud for MJF. Is Omega trying to prevent MJF from like basically leaving with the world title? Like, oh, I gotta get the world title back for All Elite Wrestling before you try to take it to WWE. I thought that was what they were going to set up, but they're setting that up a little bit different way. And because they've scaled so far back on the free agent stuff, feels like he's just resigning.
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different dynamic with him as a babyface because, like, for one though, I do really like the idea of Omega being the one to try to stop, like, be like the last title defense before he'd break the record, because that's just a really cool opportunity and a cool kind of story and moment you have there, that Omega like could be the guy right there to lose to MJF, and MJF breaks the record after beating the former record holder. I like that a lot. But that, yeah, the whole 2024 bidding war thing definitely is different if MJF's a babyface, because I mean, for obvious reasons. Like if he was a heel, he'd be essentially holding the title hostage and teasing the fans like he was going to leave, teasing the company like he was going to leave, and all that kind of stuff. Now I just don't. I'm kind of with you. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity though in a lot of ways though. Like I think that's an incredible story. A lot of potential with him as a heel holding that title hostage on his way out. But I don't know. That's tough to do if everyone's cheering him. Like people are that'd be a really weird dynamic for them to be pushing him as a babyface with that idea of like, yeah, leave with the title, Max. We love you. Like, go to WWE. Like, become the champion there instead. I mean, like that's just not going to happen. So like, yeah, just it is just strange. I mean, I guess they, like I said before, they still have time to like when is the contract actually up in 2024? Do you know?
It's the first, January 1st.
So they only have less than 2 months to like do that, really. So like, I mean, I don't see him, because to pivot him from like this current storyline, especially with Juice as a babyface, if they turn that around within 2 months and had him as a heel again, I just feel like that's so counterproductive in a lot of ways. So it's like
I think a part of it would have to be dependent on Adam Cole, because if Cole, who's out right now, with the injury, if he comes back and then MJF turns on him, well, that's immediate heat right there. If MJF is like, you let me down, you got injured, you're brittle, you're broken, I can't depend on you type of thing, that's immediate heat against MJF. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a very quick pivot and a tough pivot. I mean, he's advertised for Final Battle, which, he's still one half of the ROH Tag Team Champions, if people can believe that or not. So yeah, we'll see where they're going with the MJF stuff. Right now, as a babyface, he has the match against Juice Robinson next week, and then we'll see after that with him. He's got the match with Jay White at Full Gear as well.
Yeah, good stuff coming up for him. I mean, I said it before. I don't suspect the babyface run to last a really long amount of time, but like they're doing a lot with it. And like you just said, so much of this obviously has to do with Adam Cole's timeline for return. And also, a lot of this probably wasn't even planned because like the MJF and Adam Cole stuff, I don't think was like when they originally put that together, I don't think they expected it to be what it became. So like they're kind of playing with that in real time also. So like it's super interesting where they've like wound up with MJF and all of this. Like I said, he's in a position right now of being like the most sympathetic babyface possible. But that's also like the easiest way to get people to really hate you is like after something like this to turn on everybody. Like that would really, really, and like MJF's the kind of guy who like wants to be hated. Like, I mean, he is doing what he's one of the few guys as a heel who legitimately sticks to that outside of the ring and stuff. Like, but yeah. And then like Will Chisholm with really good super chat. I want to throw this up on the screen real quick because this is relative also. Oh, sorry, we both hit it at the same time. I'll hit it again.
Okay.
All right. So thank you, Will. With super chat says, I think summer of 2024 storyline stopped because of the playoff summer of Punk. We could tell Tony wanted to do some type of story with them too. Absolutely. Like when MJF returned and CM Punk was the champion and all that stuff before Brawl Out happened and all that, like. I think that there was absolutely plans to rekindle that feud, and it probably did have something like heavily to do with this 2024 storyline. So we have to keep that in mind too. CM Punk not being there throws a lot of these plans out the window and has a lot of things have to pivot because of that too. So that's a good point, Will.
They were clearly going to work together after All Out last year, and MJF returned and everything. And then this year, CM Punk brought up the real world's title, and it would obviously make sense to let's do a unification match to determine who the actual world champion is. The fact that MJF never acknowledged that and like they didn't go anywhere with it made me believe there wasn't a real plan beyond, hey, let's just kind of have these two world titles and then maybe one day we can figure it out and get them into a match. And then obviously what happened with CM Punk. So yeah, I don't know if it got dropped because of all of that, or I think it is largely that the Adam Cole stuff really took off and it's like, well, we just got to kind of full on pivot here and then pick things up back down the road if possible. And now we'll see now with Adam Cole being out where they do pick things up with when it comes to MJF, because he's got a lot in front of him right now. Again, we mentioned the Omega stuff. We mentioned he's got Juice next week. He's got Jay White. He mentioned Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's still coming back after the title. There's still probably a Roddy match to do. Adam Cole, once he gets healthy, you're going to pick that back up. A lot of people gunning for old Maxwell right now, which is good. He's the world champion. People should be going after him.
I like that a lot. They make it seem important that like, there's multiple people gunning for the title. Like I like that a lot. And the Roddy stuff, I'll touch on this real quick. It's funny because this stuff isn't even technically our spotlight topics, but there's a lot going on in AEW right now coming out of Dynamite. Like the Roddy stuff is so funny to me. Like I love how they've leaned into him, just like this, just like nerdy, like kind of like loser who's just stuck at home, having Adam Cole making him PB&Js and stuff. Like he reminds me in like kind of, you see the movie The Benchwarmers?
Yes. It's been a while, but yes.
Remember the character, like he's like the dwarf character who lives in his basement that Robert Schneider like bullied, that you find out he bullied, and he winds up becoming like the mascot, like and then in the movie for like the team and everything. Like it's a real feel good movie. I actually really like that movie, The Benchwarmers. It's a terrible, like it's very corny. It's like, but it's like one of those like guilty pleasure movies for me. Like where if I just want to zone out and watch something that's trying to be funny, I'll watch that every now and then. And Roddy kind of reminds me of like that character, like just kind of like the guy, like the like at home, like I was cowering in my peanut butter fortress, he's like, yeah, I wanted you to make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Adam Cole, and you need to be here for me. And like, it was just kind of funny. Two different types of characters, but like even the way he sounds kind of reminds me of that character for whatever reason. It just gets me. Like I think it's so funny how Roderick Strong this far into his career, after being around this long and all that he's accomplished in wrestling, is still willing to like lean so into this like this new kind of like character that he's doing right now. I think it's really impressive.
It is hilarious that Roddy Strong, always known for just the wrestling ability, right? It's like, oh, great wrestler, Roderick Strong doesn't really have a personality. Like even MJF calls him like, oh, the bland bitch is generic white guy is what he called him. Like, but always known for his great wrestling ability and stuff. And when he came to AEW, people were like, oh yeah, now he's going to have these great wrestling matches. It's going to be awesome. We're just going to get Roddy Strong bangers. Like he's had some good matches, but it's like, yeah, Roddy Strong's just a vignette guy now. And like, I don't know. A lot of people are enjoying it. I imagine there are some who are probably like, yeah, can I just get like cool Roddy Strong matches and not this kind of stuff? But it is interesting to see him kind of have this little pivot here of like, hey, Roddy Strong is not just the banger match guy. He's over here doing comedy vignettes.
I love it. I think it adds a totally different layer to him. And like, cause he's still going to have the banger matches. It just adds like it makes him way less of just like a generic guy. Like it gives him a lot more layers. And we know the history of these guys and that's also funny to think, like, just almost like rewriting history in your mind of like knowing how long Adam Cole and Roderick Strong have been friends. It is the idea that Roderick Strong has always maybe kind of been like this a little bit. Like we never knew. I just think that's kind of funny to think about. So
we're going to get into our actual AEW spotlights.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show. And I think it's been a run of great shows.
Sting has announced his retirement date. Sting addressed the crowd in Texas last night, and he said, my first match back was Revolution 2021. My last match will be Revolution 2024. We don't know where Revolution will take place. I'm going to try to make plans to go out there. I need to see the Stinger in his last match, but hey, he's going to have his last match, Jensen. And what is the ideal scenario for Sting in his last match in your mind?
So I was hoping this day would never come. I guess it's like, I'm happy that he's getting to go out on his own terms, right? Like, so, the big question, of course, is going to be, like you said, like who has he chosen? Who makes the most sense? I mean, obviously, if you could do it one-on-one, him and Darby, and having Darby beat him is like, that to me is the ideal situation. Like, you don't have to have a feud between the two. No one has to turn on one another. It's simply just Darby getting the respect of like, that big kind of like prize of being Sting's last match after all that they've been through and Sting mentoring him and everything. And Darby really helping Sting out a ton too with this run. I mean, that obviously, I mean, that really goes without saying, but so many of these tag matches, Sting has more than held his own with jumping off balconies and all the crazy stuff he's doing at his age. And like, he continues to evolve even now. Love Sting. If I had to make a top 5 wrestlers of all time, like my favorite 5 wrestlers ever, Sting's probably in that top 5. Like I know Sting's way up there for you as well. I mean, like we're both definitely Sting guys. And, but so that's ideally what I'd want to see, but who knows? I don't know if Sting can do a singles match, like, or if he really wants to do a singles match, if he'd prefer him and Darby to tag together in his final match. It looks like they're setting up something between them and Christian, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus potentially, but we also have between now and like February or so to get to Revolution, so we still have some time. But yeah, that's, I guess, to answer your question, my ideal situation would be Darby beating Sting in his last match, but given the limitations potentially, I could see it being a tag match. I just don't know who the ideal tag team is. I'm not sure. I
mean, maybe it's FTR. They've
like
talked
for the
about
tag. Well, they're not the tag champions anymore. But do you think maybe he ends up as with the tag titles? That would be kind of nice.
I don't think they end the retirement with him being a champion. Then you got to immediately vacate the titles, or Darby has to just pick another partner. I think it's going to be a singles match. By the way, I don't think it's going to be a tag team match. He hasn't done a singles match in AEW. Obviously, you got to have the right opponent. I'm with you on it feels like it's Darby. And it feels like it's Darby because they've just announced the retirement date. It's not, I don't think you need to do a feud. It's his last match. Sting, his promo, what did he do his entire promo? He put other people over that helped him. right? That was his entire promo. He got booed for mentioning Hulk Hogan. Rightfully so.
When he was quick on his toes with like the reaction. He like immediately was like, "Listen, I get it. I'm just saying, like, he helped me out. I'm just saying, like, let's move past it."
I mean, Hogan didn't help him out because the biggest match of Sting's career, Hogan was an asshole during it. But
yeah, it's true.
His entire promo was just like thanking guys who got him to this position. Sting knows, and this is why he aligned himself with Darby, and this is why he's done the work that he's done throughout AEW. He's about giving back. He's about leaving it better than he found it. And I think the way he leaves it better than he found it is he puts Darby over in a singles match. And that's it. Sting seems like the type of guy who wants to, in his retirement match, do business. He doesn't need the big, like, hey, I won, give me this big he's gonna get that regardless. Like, he's gonna get that. I think it's a Darby singles match. And the thing about Darby is, like, yeah, okay, how is Sting gonna work in a singles match? Sting gotta just stand there and Darby will bump around him. Like, he ain't gotta do a whole lot. Darby is also very light. Like, Sting can still body slam, he can still lift. Like, Darby ain't the toughest guy in the world to work with on this. And Darby's got to fall off things. Darby's going to make him look great as well, especially because considering just one, that's just who Darby is. He's going to do that with just about anybody because that's his style overall. But he's certainly going to do it for Sting in a final match. So I think that's the most likely scenario is Sting and Darby in a singles match, and Sting puts him over. The other scenarios that are possible that, like, I'd kind of like to see, somebody mentioned Christian, and there's the little tease last night. I think that could be a match down the line. There ain't too much time. Revolution's typically in February, early March, late February is when they usually do that. So it's you got a little bit of time to pull this off. I don't know if he's going to work another singles match, though. I don't know if he's also going to lose at any point. So, like, if he faces Christian, is that for the TNT title? If Christian's still the champion, do you put the TNT title on him? I don't know about that as a last match. Other guys he could possibly put over. It's not going to happen. I'd love to see them, like, heat somebody up like Daniel Garcia and Garcia get, like, that kind of spot. There's a Jericho possibility because they've never done a singles match together, that be it. But I don't really want that to be Sting's last match. Tag team possibilities are certainly something like Sting and Darby against, like, the Young Bucks, Sting and Darby against, I don't know where he falls in the scope of things by February, March, if they turn Christian by that point, or if they turn Copeland, but Sting and Darby against Edge and Christian, Copeland and Christian, sorry, going into Revolution. I think those are all possibilities depending on how things play out between now and February, March, which, again, that's still a long time. A lot can change between now and Revolution. But my initial thought was Sting and Darby singles match, Darby goes over.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. I mean, this would be, if Cody was around, Cody versus Sting is like the match we're just never going to get, that really, really bothers me that we didn't get that when it was right in front of us in AEW. I like the idea too. You kind of touched on this. I could see this happening if they do Sting and Christian for the TNT title sometime between now and Revolution, and Sting becomes the TNT champion. I could see it being Sting and Darby beating Sting for the TNT title in the last match. That's like a real passing of the torch. And also, like, Darby really, really, really cares about that TNT title. Like, he's made that like a part of like his personality, and like his pretty much like part of his gimmick in AEW is like, he's always like attached to that title in some way, shape, or form, and trying to get it from whoever's got it. So it'd just kind of be perfect. It'd be really poetic, like, for that because essentially Sting being involved in the Turner networks for so long, just the fact that he could like hold that TNT championship at some point, and it adds a little bit more stakes to Sting's last match with the title being on the line, and a title that Darby really cares about him winning it back over his mentor. I kind of feels like that's like kind of the perfect scenario. Although, like, I love Christian and what he's doing right now. Like, I I'm not necessarily advocating for him to lose anytime soon or lose the TNT title anytime soon, because like I think he's doing not only the best work of his career, like some of the best work in like all of wrestling right now, which we're about to talk about a little more on that also. But like, if they're gonna have Christian lose, like it would be worth it to have him lose to Sting to set up Sting and Darby, in my opinion. So
I think one of the ways you could potentially get there is let's say Sting just doesn't work any singles matches until his final match against Darby. You do a tag team match and you do with the title just on the line. Whoever gets the pinfall gets the title type of deal. And then Sting gets the pin in the match. It's Sting and Darby against Wayne and Christian, Nick Wayne and Christian. And Sting gets the pinfall. And you can even have it to where Darby like hands him the pinfall type of thing of like, hey, take this pin, get this victory, get this title. And then Sting is, thankful and stuff. And he's like, but like, that ain't how I want to go out. Like, I appreciate that. Like, you did that for me. Okay. Like, now final match, me and you, 1-on-1, I'll put this title on the line as well. And then it's still about respect, but you add a little bit of heat to it of like, oh, the title's on the line. Yeah. Darby did kind of hand him that. And like, you don't need a full-blown heel turn. Nobody's advocating for that, I don't think. I certainly don't want that. No. I don't need Sting and Darby to like split and there be sort of this blood feud to it. Like the relationship has been around long enough and is strong enough to where like that's still it's Sting's last match. That's the story. You don't need anything more to it than that. So I think you could possibly do that because I don't know how many singles matches Sting is working. And I do kind of like the idea of like, he doesn't work any singles matches until his final match. People in the chat are saying guys like Jeff Jarrett. I thought about that actually of Sting and Jarrett being involved somehow in the last match. Jarrett working Sting and Flair's last match would be incredible. Absolutely incredible.
If you told people back in like the late 90s, early 2000s that their heads would explode if they knew that, because like Jeff Jarrett was so polarized. I mean, he still is in a lot of ways, but he was so polarizing back then. Because I remember even when he was like WCW champion, people were like, has WCW really like gone this downhill that Jeff Jarrett is a world champion? Like U.S. title at the max, right? Like this is the world champion now. Like we've seen him go like back and forth, WWF, WCW and stuff, long hair, short hair, don't piss me off and all that stuff. And that'd be wild if that somehow played out that way. I see people saying Jeff Hardy also, like because we never got like the real match in TNA. That was a absolute fiasco, obviously. I mean, there's options. You can do Sting and Darby versus the Hardy Boys at some point too.
Yeah, I was thinking that they potentially do that match at some point during this run is Sting and Darby against the Hardys.
Yeah, I like that. And then you also have rated FTR becoming a trio, and then like that'll open it up for like Sting, Darby, and a partner. They can do something against them maybe. I mean, there's. It just depends on how many times Sting's trying to wrestle between now and like February or whenever Revolution is. And they also have to make sure he stays uninjured. Like that's a big key in this too. Is like you've announced Revolution, so like now you got to make sure Revolution. I mean, there's people like you already trying to make travel arrangements to like. So specifically,
let's not make arrangements when we don't know the dates or the location for the show.
Right, sure, but you know what I mean. It's like you already have it in your mind. Like, okay, based on Sting's retirement alone, like I want to travel to this show. You know what I mean? Like, and so now, like, you got to come through on that. It's a big advertisement.
Yeah, you do have to keep him healthy. And how many matches is he going to wrestle? There's only one pay-per-view between now and then. It's Full Gear. Assuming they don't add anything, because they have been adding stuff, assuming they don't add anything in January, or if Revolution is early March, they add something in February. You got the big like Dynamites, like Winter is Coming. That's kind of been synonymous with Sting. So I could see that being like a Sting match at that Dynamite. And then if they go to like Daly's Place for the homecoming shows, which they typically do at the beginning of the year, you get one match in Daly's Place. I feel like you kind of almost have to do that as well. Give him one more match at Daly's Place. So I think he's probably, this is me spitballing, he's got at least 3 matches between now and Revolution. I think you're going to get a Full Gear match. That's most likely a multi-man match. You're probably going to get a winners coming match. You're probably going to get a Daily's Place match, assuming they go back there at the beginning of the year. And then maybe one more before Revolution. But I think you're getting at least 3 between now and Revolution.
Last night, when we can kind of pivot this to, which, and also, we mentioned Chris Jericho. I'll put this on the screen real quick too. I don't know if it'll be Sting's last match, but I do expect Jericho to get involved in something Sting's doing between now and his retirement. I think, yeah. And I'm a big Jericho guy, obviously, so I'm here for that. But last night on Dynamite, we had the segment with Christian, Nick Wayne, and Darby attacked the two of them, and like Luchasaurus got involved.
Beat Nick Wayne's ass.
Yes. But I'm trying to remember. It was Luchasaurus, Christian, and Nick. And then you had Darby and Sting. Was anyone else out there with him last night?
No.
So it was just them two. I mean, I feel like you have to add a third, and like that's going to be one of the matches. Like those 3 versus.
Well, Copeland makes the most sense because he saved them at WrestleDream.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That's yeah.
They kind of took that away a little bit because then Darby was sidelined and Sting was away. So they added FTR and Danielson to that whole mix on Collision. But I think that makes the most sense is that 6-man at Full Gear.
Yeah, I'm with that. That makes perfect sense, Reg, or Adam Copeland to be I keep forgetting to wear. I've got one of those old like Rated R Superstar beanies from like
that's unfortunate.
Back in the day. I know. I was gonna wear it when he debuted, but it was me and SP3 on that show together, so you weren't around, and just kind of a missed opportunity with that wardrobe. But yeah, do you want to talk a bit more about the Nick Wayne and Christian segment? Because I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, they had to sit down with Nick Wayne and his mom, who doesn't have a name, and she was very disappointed in her son. And he said that like Christian is my real father now. He's a better father than my father ever was. He's there for me. Christian came in and said you should have picked up the phone to Nick's mom. Nick's mom slapped him, and he said like you're dead to me. He walked out the door, and he got his ass beat by Darby Allin.
Yes, and that kind of ties in and led to what we were just talking about with like a brawl between those 5. I love this segment. Like they're doing such a good job. Sorry, go ahead.
Really?
Oh, dude, it's a little cringe. Like Nick Wayne's mom seems a little kind of uncomfortable, like with it.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint. Is like she's clearly like she's been around in the wrestling business for a while now, but like it didn't come off very like genuine or real with her. Like it felt like, oh God, you're forcing me to do this. And I was a little almost like, maybe you're supposed to be uncomfortable watching it, but I wasn't uncomfortable and like, oh, I can't believe this family drama is playing out like this. I was uncomfortable and like, this isn't very good.
Oh, see, I'm here for that. Like, I get it because it is kind of cringe, like I said, but it's what I'm more talking about is Nick, because like you can see he's done such a good job for a kid who's literally 18 years old. And I know he's been wrestling a long time. I've covered pretty much his whole career throughout the Weekender and all that stuff. And that's part of why I like this so much too, because I've heard year after year after year with him being in the business, Buddy Wayne's son, Buddy Wayne's son, Buddy Wayne's son. He's always, he'd come out to the ring, do this, every time he'd come out, point at the sky for his dad and everything. And so I'm very much like, it goes hand in hand with me and Nick Wayne, like Nick Wayne, Buddy Wayne, and his whole backstory and everything, and him being literally 18 years old and doing all this on AEW TV. And to see him do such a good job at, like, you just look at him on the screen, you're like, that's a different dude. Like, that's a completely different attitude, a completely different person. And I like that because his mom, once again, it is a little cringe, but like the way that she's saying this, she's like, I don't recognize you anymore. Like, you've completely changed. And I think Nick is doing a really good job of showing that. Like, he looks pissed. He's just sitting there just pissed off. And then like anything his mom says to him or any movement she makes towards him, he like swats her away. And like the crowd really was like, I got some real heat the first time he kind of like swatted her like hand away from him. Like he was kind of like swinging towards her. People were like, you could tell it was like uncomfortable. Like the crowd was like, ooh, that's kind of not cool. But like, that's the point. Like they're trying to make you feel uncomfortable. And then Christian comes in for the cherry on the cake, coming in and making it super uncomfortable right in front of Nick Wayne's own mom and just being like, "You ready to come home, son?" You know, it's just like, and he leaves with them, and like, and then Christian tells her on the way out, "You should have answered my phone call." And it's just like, I think this is really good. Like, once again, it's a bit cringe, but it's cringe in like the wrestling acting sense that we've seen this a trillion times in wrestling. It could be a good story and everything, but like sometimes the acting isn't great or, you know, whatever. But like, I don't know, something of whatever. This is all working for me. I like this a lot. I really like that because Nick Wayne is going to eventually be like the biggest babyface in the entire wrestling business. It'll be like a few years from now. But the best way to do that, I think, is have people hate his guts for a while. And then it'll be the whole Rocky Maivia, The Rock kind of thing with him. And yeah, so I know you said you weren't a big fan of it, but like, dude, I was literally, because there was points where I was cringing to the point where I was almost like laughing. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. But that was kind of the point. I think it was meant to make you feel uncomfortable. I think they really did a good job of that. And then Darby gets the redemption by beating their asses right after.
I thought Christian was good. I did think Nick was good, by the way, for the role he's having to play as an 18-year-old. I thought he was good. The stuff with the mom, just because she didn't seem comfortable doing it, and that was a little off-putting to me.
It's hard for me to believe she's not agreeing. It's like she
well, obviously she's
agreeing.
Didn't
want to do it.
Yeah, obviously she's agreeing to it if she's doing it. I would hope so, but the fact she's agreeing, at least again, I would hope that she's agreeing to do it. Otherwise, I don't think they would force her to do it. But the uncomfortableness of her, I can't quite get past. It just didn't come off. It didn't come off great to me, her segment of it. There's a difference between like, okay, yeah, I agree to do this, but still being able to pull it off. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you agreed to do it. That's great. But if you can't pull it off despite being agreeable to do it, that doesn't make it good television to me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I get that. But I also feel like there's this is a weird comparison to me, but it's kind of like Vicky Guerrero almost. Like, she didn't seem comfortable either for like a while. And then she became like a massive heel. Like, she became really comfortable. But at first it was like weird seeing her on WWE TV, and she really fit in and stuff.
Yeah, but that part wasn't good. That doesn't mean it was any good.
Well, I guess my point is, like, do you think that Nick Wayne's mom's eventually going to turn and join Christian? Because I think she is, and I think that there's going to be this is all like we're going to be looking back at this and being like, you're not going to care that this was cringe, because at a certain point you're just going to hate his mom because she is going to eventually side with Christian, I think. So
I'd be happy. I'd be happy if she just wasn't involved at all after what I saw last night.
Okay, that's fair enough. But I also feel like I'm not going to take any points away for like anybody who's like, well, she seems uncomfortable doing this, or she doesn't, like, there's no way she does. She's not like, she's agreeing to do this. Like, there's no way that like her deal or Nick Wayne's deal is contingent on like, we're going to sign you, but only if like your mom agrees to doing storylines with us. Like, they signed Nick Wayne. It is just kind of a bonus that his mom is willing to be involved in this. That's like, this kind of fell in their laps with like Christian Cage somehow becoming the biggest heel in wrestling recently based off of making fun of dead fathers. And like you get Nick Wayne, who has this whole backstory of his dad being a wrestling trainer, just all kind of like perfectly fell together like this. So I don't think there was necessarily even like an intention of her being involved, but it's just like with this specific storyline. And listen, maybe she doesn't have to talk anymore or whatever, like whatever, you know, but I think eventually she's going to join Christian. And like, I don't know. I just think I like the story. So that's just me. I think it's good.
I don't mind the story. I understand the story that they're telling, but I don't think it's that great. I don't think her part in it is that great, I should say. I get the story. Christian has been fantastic. Nick Wayne was very good last night. Her part in it, the uncomfortableness that she is portraying, and it's not an uncomfortableness like, I can't believe my son did this. It's an uncomfortableness of like, I don't really want to do this. Again, I do agree. She agreed to do it. I don't think she's being forced or anything like that, but she just seems uncomfortable on screen. And maybe it's just an on-screen thing. Maybe it's not even uncomfortable of like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with this storyline. Maybe she's just uncomfortable being on screen. I completely get that as well. But she she's uncomfortable on screen. She looks uncomfortable on screen. She comes off uncomfortable when she's talking about all of this. And it takes me out of things. Just takes me out of things.
That's fair. I just think she's just more or less just kind of like a bad actress. But like,
well, yeah, but that takes me out of it.
But I think it adds to it when like she's sitting right there and Christian is telling her to her face, stop abusing your son, while he's abusing, like, it's so like the mental, like,
yeah, Christian's
like gymnastics. Great. But it adds to it that she's sitting right there, like, while this is happening. It hits different that she's right there, and Nick's like swatting her away, and Nick's hitting her, and Christian saying, "Stop abusing your son." Like, it's so bad. It's mental gymnastics. Like, I don't know. We can agree to disagree on that. I just think that, like, I understand. Like, I agree with you. She's not a good actress, but I'm not like taken out of the story because I don't think she's doing anything. If she's uncomfortable with it, I don't think she'd be doing it. You know, so
I don't think she's uncomfortable with the overall storyline. I think she's trying her best. I just don't think she's doing well. Like, she didn't do well in that segment. And she's been in wrestling for a long time, but she's never done anything like this. So I get it. I get that she would not come off. I'm on camera all the time, sure, but like, I don't know if I could be on camera like that and come off super well, especially doing a storyline like that. Like, I probably couldn't. So I'm not saying I'd do any better. I could not play a mother. I'm not saying I would do any better at this, but she is the one doing the role. And when I watched that segment last night, I was like, oh man, I didn't find her role to be very good. The rest of it, great. The actual story they're trying to tell, no issues with. But her role, I was just like, man, this just kind of sucks. Honestly, I'm kind of just turned off by this whole thing because of how bad it was. That's just me. Hey, if you like the rest of the segment, and I did enjoy the rest of the segment, I do, for the most part, overall enjoy the story. I get what they're telling with the story. But when I was watching it last night, I was just like, this just is not it wasn't good to me. Like that's why I can maybe move past uncomfortableness. Hey, some people found it funny. Like Jeff Driver says, I found her horrible acting hilarious personally. Hey, I can find some horrible acting hilarious and be like, this is funny. But like, when you're trying to tell a serious story of like this mother who has lost her son and turn against her, and Christian is there, like, stop abusing, and they're trying to do this mental thing, but the acting is bad, I couldn't find it funny. I was just like, man, this is just bad. And I'm just kind of like, I don't even want to watch this.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree on that. I see other people in the chat say, Hassan says, I liked it as well. It was amazing in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, we'll just agree to disagree on that.
Jeff Driver, is this a serious story though? It's wrestling. I don't know. You want to have conversations? You want to educate people? Jeff Driver? That's a reference to the MJF stuff that's now been dropped after we spent a week talking about it. And now it's just like, never mind. Let's not do this. Wrestling is supposed to be serious in some aspects. Now, I'm probably being over dramatic. That's acting, everybody. That's acting.
That's acting. Yeah, because it looks like the chat's pretty. Not everyone's gonna agree with me, but it seems like a lot of people are. But like, we don't have to agree on everything either. Like, that's what makes conversation like interesting. Like, me and Jeremy don't have to agree on everything. And the thing is, we do agree that it's a great story. I just don't have really an issue with. I get the bad actress stuff. I get it. But like, I don't think it's like taking away from this. And I think she's only going to get better at it. And eventually the payoff's going to be fantastic whenever like she herself turns, I think. So anyway, we can move on.
They should hire an actress to play Nick Wayne's mom. Just say she comes in, there's just a new mom next week. It's like when they replace the mom. Fresh Prince had a different Aunt Viv after like 3 seasons or whatever. It's like, you changed, Aunt Viv. It's like, we're just not going to mention, we're just going to make a little reference there, but then otherwise everything is the exact same. That's what they need. Nick Wayne's mom needs a real actress next week. It's like, Mom, what'd you do? You got a little tanner, Mom. They recast her. Yeah, just recast Nick Wayne's mom. That's what they need to do.
Oh my God. Go find Mama Benjamin, wherever she's at. You do the recast. No one will know the difference. Remember that whole story? That was like Shelton was actually like getting kind of over during that. That was actually pretty impressive. Like the whole
They had to give Shelton personality is what it was all about. Yes.
Oh man.
All right, we can move on to the WWE spotlight.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
Cody Rhodes' story with the tag team titles finished. Stephen Jensen. He lost. He's a giant loser again. How do you feel supporting this man?
What was the next topic?
That's the topic. Cody Rhodes is a loser.
No, I'm the one after this. So I mean, yeah, what was it, like a 10-day run with the titles?
Yeah. Good run. That's how long his WWE title reign should last as well. Whenever he wins it, 10 days, and then he drops it to Gunther.
So the tag title thing doesn't really bother me too much, to be completely honest, because like that wasn't going to really go anywhere. Listen, the story that they're eventually getting back to with Cody and Roman doesn't really need the tag titles involved. And it does tie in with my other spotlight a little bit, but we'll wait on that. I don't know, man. Like, there's really no point doing the title change. Like to put it on Cody and Jey to begin with, and then take it right off them. There really wasn't even a point in taking it off of like KO and Sammy when they did really either. Like, kind of. But I get that they're pushing the Judgment Day, and like the Judgment Day is doing really well. I'm not taking anything away from them. I guess it's just, I don't know, not even really necessarily confusion. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It just kind of is what it is. Like, I think the WWE is really just in killing time mode with Cody right now, until they can figure out when to pair him and Roman back together, because they got to get through like Roman and LA Knight. They're doing the Saudi Arabia show, right? So
yeah.
So they got to get through all that, and so I mean, they're just killing time, and then it ties in with like Kevin Owens being traded to SmackDown and stuff and all that. But I don't know, man. Like, I didn't watch Raw this past Monday except for Cody's. I heard I knew it was the main event, so I turned on the main event and watched them lose the titles. Really nice Outsider's Edge by Damian Priest onto Cody. I will say, was it Cody or Jey?
It was Cody on the table.
Cody then Jey's the one who got pinned, of course, because Cody doesn't take pins unless it's Roman or WrestleMania. I still have nightmares about Solo Sikoa thumbing him in the throat. It's terrible. So yeah, that's good. I
like to imagine you just like wake up in a cold sweat, like after you just see like a giant thumb going into Cody's throat, and like you just it's a Kevin Durant commercial of like when he has to like guard LeBron or whatever. Fuck Kevin Durant, but he just like wakes up cold sweat. It's like, can't believe this happened again. Like that's how I like to imagine you. Like, oh no, Cody. Oh,
it's exactly
Solo Sikoa.
It's exactly like that. Like, dude, especially because it still happens occasionally, but especially right after WrestleMania, dude. Oh my God! Like, I literally woke up and I was like, because I had all this stuff planned, like for the show and whatnot, and I was like, I literally had all like, oh my God, I still can't believe I'll never forget exactly where I was standing, like when he lost, like, and my brother's reaction to it, who like, you could tell he so badly wanted to roast me for it, because like, he's not into wrestling like we are, but like, he knows how attached I am and he watches a lot of it with me. And usually he would take that opportunity to like really roast me for liking wrestling so much. And even he was like, man, I'm so sorry that this happened. Like, he felt so bad that Cody lost. So like, anyway, yeah, I don't want to keep rehashing that, but I mean, that's going to be the theme of like a lot of the Cody talk until he gets another shot at this year's WrestleMania, unless The Rock swoops in last minute. Although they're saying that's not going to happen now, but who knows? Never say never in wrestling. So, I mean, I don't know, man. How do you feel? I'm kind of indifferent towards it. They never needed to put the titles on Jey and Cody to begin with, and like, it just kind of like
them winning the titles actually increased the Roman story. I think it was a short run, obviously,
because they got to go over to SmackDown with the titles and everything.
They got to go over to SmackDown. We got the Cody and Roman little face to face on SmackDown, and then we got Roman being like, he's Jey's out here with these titles without you. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, run the play, call the audible, whatever, the football terminology. That Jimmy Uso out here, by the way, Russell Wilson ass quarterback, trying to run these plays and get yards. He's like, hot route on this stuff. So Jimmy going over to Raw to cost them the titles kind of does further the Roman, Jey, Cody stuff, the bloodline stuff with all of that. So yeah, it was a short run. But I understand why they won the titles, and then I understand why they took the titles off so quickly. Now, maybe they could have kept it a little bit longer, but it does make sense that the first show after, I guess Jimmy could have screwed up, but then we just get Roman bullying Jimmy more. And it's like, how often are we going to see this type of thing? So Jimmy actually like making good and doing something good is a good thing, I think, for this story. I think this helped Cody. Losing in this manner helped Cody in terms of building back to the Roman story.
I agree with you there. Because I do think like the intention was exactly that. We said that when they won the titles, that like the only reason you would do this is to get Cody and Roman closer again. But like it was just so short, like you said. I figured that would last longer, where they'd be on SmackDown. Like Cody would interact on, but I also get it. Like there's so many moving pieces and so many shows you have to do before WrestleMania and these two separate brands and stuff, to where like SmackDown, I get it as well. Cause like it's tough to have Cody on SmackDown week after week after week, and the elephant in the room being him versus Roman, and that eventually happening again. But parallel to that, like at the same time, you're trying to build LA Knight versus Roman for like the upcoming Saudi show. So like you don't really want Cody there in the middle of that. So like and it also doesn't help when Roman only wrestles like a few times a year now. So like it's a weird. I mean, no one in the world thinks LA Knight's beating Roman Reigns, right? I mean, is there anybody in the chat that actually thinks that's going to happen?
I hope he does.
If that happens, I will literally never watch the WWE ever again. we will not have WWE spotlights on the show anymore. Like I'm just going to be done with it. And I'm just going to start a petition to get Cody back in AEW. I'm just going to that'll be my rest of my life's goal would be that. But
I hope LA Knight wins.
It wouldn't be fun for any. Well, actually, there would be people who would enjoy probably my reaction to it on this show, because I'd be just so furious over it. But like, and it's not even specifically because it's LA Knight on it. To be just anyone except for Cody. I need to make that clear. I'm not like, y'all know I'm not a big LA Knight fan, but like
it's a little bit that it's LA Knight.
Yeah, but like honestly, there isn't anybody you can name that I'd be okay with that isn't Cody. Like no, but you couldn't name one person or be like, oh yeah, I'm cool with that. That makes sense. The only person that's like kind of a little bit like that would be Gunther, because of how they built him with that IC title. And like if he just kept winning and eventually won the world title too, kind of like the Ultimate Warrior did, like I'm like somewhat okay with, because like you organically built somebody, for that long, but he's the only, and it's not even really an exception, because like I still hate that idea, but like that's the only person where I'd be like, okay, I could see that making sense, but like it's got to be Cody. But LA Knight specifically, right? Like let's just hope whenever he does the bad finisher that Roman can sell it okay. I mean, and just hope that like I don't know.
Oh, I hope LA Knight wins. Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad how he does the rock bottom and he does this instead of this thing, and just it's all the same. Anyway, it's all the same. Oh, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
My whole life. A lot of other wrestlers do the same thing.
Yeah, but he does it better than anybody. You got to give him credit for that.
What's going to be interesting is seeing what happens after he loses to Roman and see how the crowd reacts.
He's going to beat Roman.
Once again, if that happens, I'm never watching WWE ever again. So, I mean, once again, WWE doesn't care about that. Like they can hear me say that all day and be like, okay, cool. See ya. Yeah.
He's going to, the new fans they're going to bring in, all the new LA Knighters that they're going to bring in. It doesn't matter. They can lose one Stephen Jensen, because they're going to bring in a ton of LA Knighters.
That would be a really interesting statistic to be able to to prove, which I don't think you could. But like,
that's my challenge. This is my challenge to WWE. Put the title on LA Knight at Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel, and then let's see what the ratings are for the following episode of SmackDown. And if they go up, then it's proof, my proof, that LA Knight has brought in the LA Knighters, I'm going to get this over, into the world, into the WWE universe. Yeah.
I just think there's no way that he's bringing in new fans. I think the LA Knight fan base is current wrestling. It's mainly casual, but current wrestling fans that just want to be a part of something. Even this whole thing, the movement. I mean, it's the yes movement. This is all we've seen. All this, it's maddening. I'm just like, he's out there in front of crowds just going, yeah, and they're going, yeah. I mean, it's literally the yes movement. It's just yeah instead of yes. I mean, it's the same word with spelled slightly differently. It's his finishing move is a stunner, slightly different
instead of an S.
Right, but it means the same thing. It's the same word. So like, it's like he's doing the yes movement. He's doing a really bad. It looks like honestly his finisher looks like he's botching a stunner every time. I know it's not that, but like that's what it looks like. It looks like he's botching a stunner every time he does his finisher. His rock bottom thing is weird. It's all just. I don't know, but he's over, I guess. But once again, if I say I guess because I don't watch it. I mean, I see clips occasionally of like he comes out and people go nuts.
He's over, brother.
So, he's been all about the for a long time, says Kai. That's true. Well, he never got over until now, though. It's been like 20 years.
Gonna read these super chats. The whole story I think they're telling is Roman doesn't want to face Cody, and he's doing to avoid him. Story of Drew naming Cody to bring Jey to Raw with a slow heel turn, so it makes sense. Yeah, I can see Roman. I think a few people pointed out of Roman is like he felt most threatened when he faced Cody, and that's why he needed all of that stuff, and so he doesn't want to face Cody again. So yeah, that's why I think losing the tag team titles is a good thing for Cody to get that rematch against Roman. Yeah. Chi-Town Spurs says Cody Roman LA Knight triple threat for Mania. Yeah.
Bad idea. I like you, Chi-Town Spurs, though. I really appreciate
LA Knight stacks them, smashes them, pins both of them, holds up the titles. Yeah.
No.
Jensen, I have before we move on to our other WWE spotlight, I do have a question for you. Very important question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whose game is it?
Whose game is it? Good question. Whose game is it?
With everybody saying L.A. Knight. Yeah.
So bad. Walk with Elias.
That shit was over too.
Yeah, it was. Where's he at now? Oof.
Oh, that's unfortunate. No,
listen, I'm not trying. Listen, I'm just saying. Even before the release, what was he doing? For a long time.
That's not his fault.
I'm just saying, like this, it's not going to be LA Knight's fault necessarily either.
Why are you a hater on LA Knight?
Because y'all think that this is going to keep lasting. What they're doing right now, they are trying to build a big opponent for Roman, right? They got to get credible people in there that make you believe he's got a chance. I agree. But after he loses, then what? Listen, hopefully I know I sound like such a hater of this guy. I get that. I get that I sound like I just specifically hate this guy so much. I think it's really strange how over he is. It just doesn't make sense to me. But he's getting reactions. I've said this 1,000 times on this show. If LA Knight sees this, if he sees me saying all this, I would literally completely ignore me and just keep doing what you're doing because what you're doing is working. I just don't watch it.
Nick Aldis is the new SmackDown general manager. I could just keep winding you up about this, but I'm going to be kind, and we got other stuff to get to. Nick Aldis is the new SmackDown general manager. I took a shot at Dom. He's a big fan of Dom's father, and then he completed the Jey Uso for Kevin Owens trade, and then he was kind of there as a bit player, background player for for the rest of the show. What do you make of Nick Aldis getting his WWE run finally?
Yeah, it was interesting because like, has the WWE audience ever seen him? I don't think he's been a part of anything on screen for them before, right?
No, his introduction was just like Nick Aldis. He didn't get music or anything. The crowd was like, "Oh,
he just
okay,
like walked
cool."
into the ring from like he was like on like the announcer, like near the announcers or something. Because I don't think he even walked down like the entrance ramp, right? He just like walked into the ring. That was a little confusing because I was like, because usually WWE doesn't just like, well, I guess they kind of did with like Adam Pearce and stuff. I guess like I shouldn't say they don't do this with authority figures. Even like Drake Maverick, when he was like the 205 Live commissioner, he like, I know that's different, but like just the reason I'm saying this, by the way, is because what WWE does for whatever reason is they'll take like, this isn't always the case, but guys like Adam Pearce, Drake Maverick, another example, Nick Aldis right now, like these were all people who made their names outside of WWE who never had a WWE run that were brought in as authority figures on screen. So it's just kind of interesting where it's like what, like why would the WWE audience care about Nick Aldis unless you knew his past as like the NWA World Heavyweight Champion and like maybe his run as Magnus and stuff, but like they're not like at any point did Triple H, I mean, I don't know what his introduction. I know they said he was like accomplished or whatever, and I know they probably didn't mention like the NWA World Heavyweight Championship on the show. But are they making it like really clear? Like this guy was like a long-time world champion outside of here, so like that makes him credible to be the general manager for the show. Because otherwise, it's just like if I was a casual WWE viewer, I'd be like, "Who's this guy and why is he getting this role?"
They didn't like go too deep into it. I'm not even sure they mentioned it at all. I mean, but it's a GM role. It's not like you need to be super well versed in who this person is. If you're just a casual fan, it's like, okay, this is the new GM, cool, and then he's gonna assert his authority however he's gonna do it. Like, yeah, basically the same thing with Adam Pearce. I don't know how many regular WWE viewers knew who Adam Pearce was, but then they just accepted, okay, cool, this is the general manager. He looks the part. If you knew Adam Pearce, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, then it's like, oh, all right, cool, that's a nice little nod. Same with Nick Aldis type of thing. If you know, when he's getting in the middle of Cody and Roman, if you see Nick Aldis there, it's like, oh, Cody's got history with Nick Aldis type of thing. Like if you know, then cool, it's a nice little shout. Otherwise, it's just like, all right, he's the new general manager. They're just introducing a new character to their television show is kind of how I look at it.
I think it's going to lead to him in the ring. I don't know how often he's going to wrestle for the WWE, but like with like Survivor Series coming up soon and stuff, I could see him being like on Team SmackDown, like in the ring and stuff like that. Like, so maybe it's a good way of introducing him because it's also kind of weird to like. I'm just kind of thinking out loud right now, but like, because he's how old? I mean, he's got to be like in his 40s now, right? Like,
I don't
40s?
think. I think that's the thing with Aldis is like he's a lot younger than people suspect. I'm looking it up right now, but yeah, Nick Aldis is only 36.
He's younger than Cody.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that because I've just watched him for so long. So when he was Magnus, he had to have been like in his early 20s.
Yeah, Aldis is a lot younger than people suspect because he has kind of been around for a while.
I thought he was older. That changes it a bit because not that 36 is young, but like a lot of people are like actually in their like athletic prime in their mid 30s. Like Cody, I think is the best he's ever been right now, and he's like 38 or whatever. And there was plenty of DDP didn't start until he was 35. He's an exception, obviously, but like that. So I could see this because let's say age aside, just longtime veteran Nick Aldis. To put him through like NXT would be weird, I think, because he's been on TV for so long that like it just wouldn't make sense. And he's accomplished so much that like it kind of wouldn't make sense. But also just to throw him right on Raw or SmackDown as a wrestler without the WWE audience knowing who he is also kind of doesn't make sense. So him being the general manager, kind of like what you're saying, just to like so the fans become aware. I mean, whether he gets back in the ring or not, I think he'll do a good job as the general manager because he looks the part. He's a very handsome guy, always dresses nice in a suit, can speak well on the microphone and all that stuff. But like, I do think this is smart if he's going to get back in the ring because now the audience is going to know who he is without him having to go through NXT, without him just being like another just random wrestler on the roster. like a Mike Bennett or something, just like coming back to WWE and getting lost in the shuffle or something. Like you would have, I think it's a good way to like introduce him to the crowd and then transition him into wrestling in front of that audience.
I don't know if or when Aldis will get into the ring in a wrestling capacity. My thought was always, hey, if they wanted him to wrestle, they just sign him as a wrestler. Like the fact that they had him doing backstage producing, like kind of shadowing producers, and it made me believe they didn't quite see that for him. And now doing a GM role, I don't know if they see that for him, at least not at this moment. But for him, it is a step in the right direction of like, all right, you're in the back. He said this too, of like he wants to be in WWE. He wants to wrestle in WWE. However, he's got to get his foot in the door is how he's going to have to do it. Producing was the first step. Now being the general manager is kind of the next step. I do think eventually it will be, all right, let's give all this a match. Let's see how it goes. Assuming he does well in the GM role. He's off to a fine start with the little comment he made towards Dom that got a little reaction. And all this is very well spoken. I think he's going to do fine in this role. I would take away all this. The fact that they're doing general managers for Raw and for SmackDown, I would like that to actually play a part of more than just like, hey, I'm an authority figure who books matches type of thing. I said this yesterday. Like we had Jimmy, who was part of SmackDown, coming over to Raw to cost Jey and Cody the titles. Why is this allowed to fly if you have general managers? Now, I think there should be some sort of like the general manager should be like, hey, you can't do that. You're fined type of thing. Like you are part of this roster. You cannot just go over there with no reasoning. Like I got to fine you for this. I would like to see kind of trade stuff happening. The Jade stuff is another example of like, she's technically a free agent. I would like to see, and they're kind of doing this, a big courting process with her. Like, hey, here's my offer to you. Like, what do you say? And then she takes that, the negotiation game, right? She takes that to Adam Pearce. Like, this is what SmackDown's offering me. What are you going to offer me? And then it's just counter negotiations. This is how free agency works in real sports. I would like to see that stuff.
It's like when Big Papa Pump came into WWE. That's exactly what they did. Like this whole storyline coming in was, which is he going to sign with Raw or SmackDown? And he was like going back and forth. Like it was a big deal that he was coming in. I like that they're doing that with Jade for sure.
I would like to see awesome. Kind of just more real sports elements introduced because you have these general managers now beyond just, hey, let's just make matches and break up confrontations type of thing. That's what I would like to see now that you actually have general managers. As far as all this, I think it'll be good in the role. Yeah, I got no issue with him doing that. I don't know how long it takes to get him in the ring. I think WrestleMania would probably be the earliest, maybe a Rumble like cameo thing, but then I don't know about like an authority figure being in the Rumble. That's always weird to me. Like, why wouldn't you just give yourself number 30 at that point? Like, why would you just put yourself in the middle of it, trying to be a good authority figure? I would maybe WrestleMania would be the earliest. I'd do something with them in the ring.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's doing a good job as a general manager also. And because of his look and everything too, like he has like extra credibility where like if like a wrestler like wasn't listening to him or like got in his face or something, like he can stand his ground because he's, you know, he's like 6'4", 6'5". I mean, he's a big dude, you know? So like, yeah, I think he's going to do fine in the WWE. I actually think that the WWE is the best fit for him really anywhere, like stylistically too. Like for him in the ring, I think he could get over with the WWE audience without having to have like 5-star matches. He just can do like his basics and like, because he's really, really good at the basics. Like Nick Aldis isn't very flashy, and I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's really good at the basics of wrestling, and he understands the crowd and how to work an audience and stuff like that. And so like, I think him in the WWE system is actually the best place for him to be wrestling if he can get in the ring. So I think he's got a shot there.
Aldis always struck me as like a WWE guy, just the way he carried himself, the way he talked, the way he wrestles. It's like, yeah, this guy, he'd be fine in WWE, and now he's there. So good on him. A couple super chats before we move on. Will Tilden says, how long before SRS reports that Vince trying to break up with TKO because he's not the booker? I mean, he can get his out. Like he can get out of, he can sell his stock. There's no waiting period or whatever. So if he wants out, he can get out, but the deal's done. He can't really do anything else. He doesn't have majority control anymore. So outside of just selling his stock, ain't like he can take WWE with him or anything. So we shall see. And Chi-Town Spurs says Jeremy Lambert buries Nick Wayne's mother. Ringside News probably. I ain't that important to get clipped like that. I'm not that important. I don't want to be that important either.
It's funny when it gets clipped in my Twitter handle is on the screen.
Yeah.
For you. Everyone's gonna be like trolling you or
Good.
me.
Good.
Yeah.
Troll you. Let's move on to our other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
I mean, not another spotlight, but NWA is apparently coming to CW, so that's something.
Yep.
My other spotlight was Impact Bound for Glory this weekend. Big show for them. Typically their biggest show of the year. And, they got Will Ospreay on this show. Big main event with Josh Alexander and Alex Shelley for the championship. What are you looking forward? What stands out to you for Impact Bound for Glory? Trinity and Mickie James as well. Another big match.
Yeah, looks like a really good card. I'll be reviewing this show right afterwards with Joel Pearl here on this channel, youtube.com/Fightful. I do all the pay-per-view, the Impact pay-per-view post shows. And I don't know if Cresta will be there or not. We're still waiting to hear, but I think we'll know by today if she'll be able to join because she does the Collision post show as well, of course. So, but for sure it'll be at least me and Joel. And I'm always looking forward to the big pay-per-views for Impact. Bound for Glory looks very good on paper. The match that I'm the most looking forward to is Will Ospreay versus Speedball. Like just the fact that this is going to be happening it's random. It's happening in Impact, with Will being involved. But yeah, I mean that legitimately has potential to be like the best Impact match ever. And I know we got like the triple threat with like Samoa Joe and Danielson and AJ, and there's been like some really legendary stuff in the history of that company. But like if these guys get time to just do what they can do, I think they're going to just blow people's minds in this one, especially that Impact audience that maybe. I mean, I think the Impact audience probably watches everything else. Like, I don't think there's any there's probably very few fans that are just Impact fans that like don't watch other wrestling shows, I would imagine. But there may not be a lot of people who see Will Ospreay that often that watch Impact potentially. And if they see him versus Speedball, I mean, I think people's minds are just going to be blown. The Rascals versus Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Also, I mean, that's a badass tag team match. I'm a big fan of all four of those guys. I mean, that's like basically like a tag team X Division showcase / who's next up potentially for the world title, like between those four guys. There's just so much talent there. As far as like predictions, by the way, like I think the Rascals are going to retain. I think it's gonna be a really damn good match, and I think Ospreay will go over Speedball. But man, Alexander and Alex Shelley is a really great match. I mean, I think Alexander gets the title back here. The title he never lost. And Alex Shelley's done a great job carrying that championship. Really cool seeing him get his flowers. So, I mean, that's the stuff that I'd say I'm the most looking forward to. I love MK Ultra, by the way. They're like one of my favorite tag teams in the world. I love Killer Kelly and Marshall Slamovich together. Them versus Deonna Purrazzo and Tasha Steelz would be a good match for the Impact Knockouts tag titles and stuff. I mean, this is a really damn good show from top to bottom. But the match I'm the most looking forward to is Speedball versus Will Ospreay.
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, like it's a standout match. It's Mike Bailey. It's Will Ospreay. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to Trinity and Mickie though.
Yeah.
There's a good story there. Mickie never lost the title either. She had to. It's the night of never lost the title. She had to relinquish the title due to injury, same time as Alexander did. So I'm looking forward to her getting back in the ring in this capacity in a big stage against Trinity, who has been on a roll on Impact and has become the face of the Knockouts division. And yeah, Josh Alexander never lost the title, taking on Alex Shelley, who's been a long time Impact guy, very much associated with Impact. And I think Alexander gets the title back here as well. I think Trinity ends up beating Mickie, but I think Alexander gets the title from Alex Shelley. Kenta's on the show as well. Kenta against Chris Sabin. We didn't mention that.
I forgot about that for the X Division title.
Yeah.
That's going to be, I completely forgot that was on the show. That's going to be a banger too. This is a great show from top to bottom. Like, please join us on the post show, by the way. Like, this is going to be a lot of fun to break down afterwards on Saturday night, right? Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Saturday, yep. Impact Bound for Glory. Everyone can check it out. It's sold out, but you can watch it on Fight. I think it's streaming on Premiere Network as well. Premiere streaming. I think they announced that, so everyone can watch that. Go check out our interview we did with Tasha Steelz. She was on In the Weeds yesterday. Really fun interview with her. She's gonna beat up Joel Pearl. Ask Joel Pearl about getting beat up by Macklin, Deonna, and Tasha Steelz. Make sure to mention that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Impact Battle for Glory is going to be, I think, a really, really great show. All right, Jensen, your other spotlight.
This would be a quick one.
Dillon Danis against Logan Paul in an alleged boxing match.
Yeah, so everyone knows how I feel about Logan Paul in the wrestling world. You know, I tongue in cheek, I troll a lot when it comes to Logan. Like, people think I'm like a massive Logan Paul fan, that I'm in the Low Gang, and that I'm a Maverick and all this stuff. You know, I'll do the double dab, you know, like Logan and all that stuff. Full disclosure, I'm mainly trolling. Listen, I very much respect the athleticism that he possesses. I very much respect the grind and the work ethic. But there's also the side of it that I never touch on here: the NFT scams and the crypto zoos and the forest from years back. Like, listen, I'm very aware of Logan Paul's history and who he is outside of wrestling too. But I am very impressed with like how he does in a WWE ring. I think he's very smart at marketing himself. I think he's a very smart business person for the most part. Some of it's, you know, a bit sketchy and whatnot. I mean, he moved he basically moved off the grid to avoid taxes and stuff. It is what it is. Anyways, this matchup with Dillon Danis was a complete embarrassment to everybody involved. I think Dillon looked way worse than Logan in this whole thing, especially with the buildup, because it is pretty low blow the way that Dillon built this fight by just like roasting Logan's significant other. But Logan's significant other has been with a lot of celebrities, so there's a lot of footage of her with other people. Anyway, you can do your own research. Logan's not the first celebrity she's been with. But anyway, but Dillon went way too far with it. It was my point. Like, he went way too far with it. But the problem I have with all of this is like Logan had his opportunity to beat his ass and like still didn't. And Dillon didn't throw hardly anything. And then the fight after the fight was actually the most action that happened. And that included Dillon swinging and whiffing on a security guard, which is like comically hilarious, but so pathetic. Like the whole thing was bad. The whole thing was bad. Usually I'd come on here and like praise Logan for the performance and like, you know, get everyone all trolled out and everything here. But like, I can't even really do that for this. Like, I think in comparison, I think Logan came out looking like the winner, and he did win the fight. But like, Dillon Danis is such a joke. That guy is such a complete joke. And both guys are very similar. Both guys involved in the crypto scams and all this stuff. But just like Logan takes the high ground and basically says, well, I'm fixing all these problems, although he hasn't. And Dillon is just like, yeah, I did it. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, there's like two terrible people who fought each other. And at the end of it, nothing really got resolved because Dillon's still talking trash. Logan still wasn't satisfied. And the fight itself was terrible. So that's just want to throw that out there as a little topic today on the show. So people who may have missed it. And also, I think KSI beat Tommy Fury in the main event. I think he got kind of screwed on the judges' scorecard. So a lot of fugazi stuff going on in these Misfits shows. So
let me defend Nina Agdell right quick. She, according to Who's Dated Who, very reliable website, she has, including Logan Paul, has dated 6 people. She's 31. I don't feel this is outrageous.
No, I don't think it's outrageous either. I just think that there was just enough ammo for Dillon to be able to just stretch this. You know what I mean? Like, he had a few instances of her being with other people, and then he just ran with it. But there's also footage. Have you seen? There's videos of her like saying and doing, like, I don't want to get into it here on the show, but like there is stuff out there that like makes her not look great. That like it was really easy for Dillon to throw certain stuff out there and make them both look really bad.
He also photoshopped a lot of stuff, and he photoshopped a lot of stuff.
But he also put out videos that were definitely her talking on video about certain stuff too. Like, I mean, it wasn't just all it was a mixture of both, but it was, at the end of the day, it was all trolling, and it was all stuff where like no one really deserves that. Like, I'm not, like, if I started dating a girl right now that had a past with other people, like, that's not really my business. Cause like, you know what I mean? That hell happened before I knew you. So like, I wouldn't really, so it doesn't like count in a lot of ways, in my opinion. You know, it really depends on what it is and how you look at it. but Dillon definitely went way too far. But then like Logan had the chance to beat his ass and didn't. Like the whole thing was just a giant miss for everybody.
It's tough to beat someone's ass when they're just standing there like this.
I completely agree. I completely agree. But like he did have some opportunities there. Logan, here's the thing: Logan just isn't a very good boxer. Like he's good in comparison to other influencer boxers, but like in comparison to like Jake, for instance, like Jake's a way better boxer than Logan is. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't know. I think the whole thing was just a giant miss. And I'm the kind of person who like is the audience for this. You know what I mean? So
it sucked. It sucked because Dillon Danis didn't actually want to fight, as we all figured. He didn't want to. Yeah, Logan went in there and he didn't really take any risk or anything. He just kind of went and punched when he needed to punch. I thought, like, given his opponent was a literal punching bag, I thought he looked fine, but could he have opened up a little bit more? Like, probably. But he even said like he was worried about getting knocked out because he thought just like some type of karma was going to get him, and that's why like he didn't want to open up. Like, it sucked, and people who worked themselves into buying it are stupid.
Yeah,
that's my comment. All right, let's move on.
I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
Grizzled Young Veterans are back. They're out of their WWE contracts. They officially expired, and they are in Deadlock Pro Wrestling. They're coming to other. I think they just got announced for Revolver as well. We had Kevin Koo on In the Weeds not too long ago. He said, "Yeah, we want Violence is Forever against Grizzled Young Vets." I feel like that's not too far away from happening, especially if Grizzled Young Vets are in Deadlock. That's where Violence is Forever's kind of made their home. But anything standing out to you with Grizzled Young Vets? They're out of the dyad. They're out of the schism now, and now they're back as James Drake, Zach Gibson working the indies.
Yeah, with War Horsemen, right?
Yeah, they worked with the Horsemen. Yeah,
I mean that's huge for War Horsemen too, being that return match to the indie scene. It's good that those guys are finally free because like they've been reported for like a while that they wanted out from WWE, right? And
they wanted out, I believe, in like April. They said they asked for their releases, and again, their contracts expired in October. It was this month, and then they weren't part. There's a lot of confusion of like, oh, were they part of the latest round of releases that happened in September? No, I mean, maybe, but it's like it's one of those things. Their contracts were up anyway, so they didn't have the 30 or 90 day non-compete clause. It's their contract was up at that time, so that allows them to be free.
Right. So that's cool that they jumped right back in, though. It's like they took no time off. They're just, out of their contracts, right back into the scene against, in my opinion, I mean, the War Horsemen along with VIF they're like the best tag teams outside of. I mean, it's hard because like War Horsemen are in Ring of Honor and like AEW like technically now, but you still didn't see them doing a whole lot as a tag team still on like AEW TV, but they should be, in my opinion. But yeah, it's good to see. I mean, I've always liked those guys, the Grizzled Young Vets. I remember, I think it was James Drake was in the tournament for the title. I don't think Gibson was, but I remember a lot of those guys when they had like that initial tournament that Tyler Bate won. A lot of them wound up sticking around and having pretty good runs. But yeah, they're actually, I think they both were in that tournament. Now that I think about it, but they weren't a tag team. At least it wasn't a tag team tournament. But yeah, I didn't see much of them as the dyad, to be completely honest. Like I saw just like clips of them with like Joe Gacy and stuff, but I'm not really surprised either that they wanted out because it kind of seemed like there's probably more they could have been doing. And they can also, they get to leave WWE and then try to build their value back up. But there's a lot of people who do that too. It doesn't mean they don't want to come back to WWE one day, maybe with like higher names or like more money or whatever, or maybe they want a shot in another company or something. I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they got out and they jumped right back into the deep end of the indie scene.
I think you'll see them a lot around the independent scene moving forward. I know a lot of people want to be like, oh, go to AEW type of thing. I think they're going to largely work indies, and then I think they're going to head over to the UK. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. They kind of teased appearing at Royal Quest, which didn't end up happening. But I could see them showing up at like a Rev Pro show. Maybe they get a one-off in AEW or something like that, but I think they're going to largely be kind of independent guys and work matches that they want to work before tying themselves back down to any type of contract. They'd be great in AEW. I don't know where they fit in AEW right now is the only thing. The tag team division in AEW kind of is what it is at the moment. So they're just kind of, and love Ricky Starks and Big Bill, they are a thrown together tag team. And otherwise, even before that, FTR was just doing open challenges to do open challenges. The Bucks are now in trio stuff. Like the Acclaimed are in trio stuff. There's not a whole lot of tag teams there right now, and I don't know the importance on tag team wrestling for AEW right now. So I don't know if they're going to go there. An Impact run. Impact's got this big UK tour coming up at the end of the month. Maybe they pop up as part of that. We shall see, but I think you'll see a lot of indie stuff from them for the time being.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They're a great team.
The other indie spotlight: Starboy Charlie winning the West Coast Pro Championship from Titus Alexander. This happened at West Coast Pro 5. Jensen, what'd you make of Starboy Charlie getting this belt?
Yeah, good stuff. If y'all want to watch this match, you can check it out over on independentwrestling.tv. Use code Fight Talk if you don't mind. Really great match. Great moment for Starboy Charlie. Love the finish as well. There were like multiple times where Charlie got him into his crossface and it looked like Titus was going to tap out, but like he didn't. And right at the end of the match, like Starboy got him with a Gotch style pile driver, 2 count. Titus kicks out, and on the kick out, Starboy like chained it like right into another crossface, and Titus eventually had to tap. And Starboy Charlie's a guy who means a lot to West Coast Pro. Massive shout out, obviously, to Titus Alexander. He had a long title run, did a great job with that belt, and it's only going to be bigger and better things for him going forward. Like Titus, I legitimately think has the potential to be one of the biggest stars in all of professional wrestling. It's just going to be a matter of like timing and where he winds up eventually. But the talent's there, and the youth is there, and the innovativeness is there, and like the guys can't miss, in my opinion. One of the best out there. In Starboy beating him, like, the title is prestigious because of the lineage of that championship and how great Titus's run with it was just now. Starboy's a staple of that company. He's there as a regular, so like that title's going to get defended often at West Coast Pro shows. And I feel happy for Starboy because he's a guy who he came into the business as a teenager. He's still probably maybe around 20 years old, but he came into it really young, really successful really quickly. And if people remember kind of the trajectory, like he had a bad injury that had him out for like a couple years ago. And when he came back, the big story and team and everything he had built was with Chris Dickinson. And Chris Dickinson, some stuff happened, and he is no longer involved in the companies that Starboy. So like my point in bringing that up is Starboy, without not to his own fault, had a lot of like really bad luck happen in his career, where like bad injuries, bad timing with big storylines and teams and stuff that he just got pulled away from him immediately. And it's just like, and to see him now where he's at, like West Coast Pro champion, he's killing it in GCW whenever he's involved there again too. Like really everywhere Starboy's at, he's doing well. And he's kind of a story like perseverance. Like even though you're young and like you dealt with some serious injuries, your tag team partner is not involved anymore because of stupid stuff that they did that you had nothing to do with. Like you almost kind of got, like, he didn't get punished for that, but in a way he did, right? Like a big push gets taken away, a big story gets taken away, a big tag team gets taken away, all these plans get taken away, and Starboy is back on top, and I love to see it. He's got a ton of talent. He seems like a great kid, and I think he's going to represent West Coast Pro Championship Wrestling very well.
West Coast Pro is doing really good stuff as well. Chris Hero announced he's coming back. He's going to face Timothy Thatcher at one of their upcoming events. So
November
West Coast Pro's, West Coast Pro's doing some really good stuff. Good to see Starboy win the title against Titus. Everyone go check out that match. IWTV, and Starboy was on AEW a while back and wearing the suspenders, and people are like, who is this guy? Like, he finds ways to stand out. Man, I don't know. His size might hold him back a little bit, but he's certainly a good enough professional wrestler to where he should, be in one of these spots. I will do a big ROH rant at a later date of like, I feel like ROH should be utilizing a lot of these top indie guys as like kind of their mainstay guys, and Starboy and Titus would be two of the guys I'd have in that spot. But ROH is doing what they're doing right now. All right, Jensen, I know you got to run. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yes, got to go clock in for the shoot job. Please make sure to follow me on X or Twitter. Jeremy has my handle on his screen, so it's at Fight Talk _. You can use code Fight Talk on independentwrestling.tv. Just use the word Fight Talk, just no space, just all is one word, Fight Talk. Listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. That's usually on Sundays, sometimes on Mondays, and that's mainly covering the world of independent professional wrestling. So yeah, check that out over at FightfulSelect.com. And I'm going to go clock in for my job and hopefully have a chill Thursday, watch some football later tonight. And good seeing you, Jeremy. Good seeing the chat. I hope you all have a great day and enjoy this interview with the returning John Mosley, aka Mose. Here you're about to hear our Spotlight creator Spotlight interview. So
all right, appreciate it as always, Jensen. Enjoy your day. Football tonight. Who could possibly care? The Colorado Avalanche are playing tonight. That's what everybody wants to watch.
See y'all.
Bye, buddy. All right, let's get into our Creator Spotlights interview with the great Mose. Everyone's seen him on the show before. I believe he's been like a 6-time guest on the show. We just like chopping up with Mose anytime we can. So Mose was kind enough to speak with us last night. We just got into a bunch of different topics, including drinking a lot of Natty Lights. This local promotion in Tennessee that's doing like shoot promos on each other, calling a main event that was Breezango against Matt Cross and Penta El Zaramedo. That was a main event match at a recent NGW event that Mose was on the call for, working GCW, things like that. Just various road stories. Darren McCarty, working with him, things like that. So just various topics with Mose. We have Mose on and we just basically banter. That's what it is. It's a bullshit banter session because Mose is big friends with Jensen, longtime friends with Jensen, and I've gotten to know him a lot over the years since we've done this show since last year and a half or so. So Mose is a very easy guest to talk to, very fun to talk to, always just hanging out, just like talking with one of your friends. So again, Mose, KOBK, check him out. The link is below. You can follow him on social media if you would like to do that. Here we go. Creator Spotlight with commentator, announcer, promoter, sometimes wrestler, not really, driver, Mose.
Welcome to the Creator Spotlight. Here on the Spotlight, I am Stephen Jensen, joined as always by Jeremy Lambert, and our guest today is a returning guest. I don't even know how many times this is now. Like
we've lost count at this point. Yeah, he's honorary Spotlight member at this point. It's him and SP3. They're just the honorary. Mose is honorary guest right now. SP3's co-host, but Mose is just honorary guest.
Sick.
Yes. So we do have Jumpin' Johnny Mosley returning to the show, aka Mose, aka man of a lot of names and aliases. Wears a lot of hats in the world of wrestling, a commentator, a promoter, a ring announcer, really does it all. This stuff behind the scenes. You may even know him as Justin. I mean, he's got a lot of aliases out there. Mose, how you doing, man? Thank you very much for joining the show again.
Dude, yeah, happy as always to hang out with you guys. Good, man. Been going, running a lot the last couple weeks, so feeling good, feeling tired, but got a couple more weekends coming up, and then it kind of eases up November, December.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to see you in person for the first time in a while, man. I'll be at GCW in Atlanta here on November 4th. So center stage, always a great time. Last time I was at that show, I never know where they're gonna like put me at. Like when I'm there, I just like try to get in, and it's like whatever seats you can give me, like I'll take anything. And the last time I get there, I sit down. There's like the best seats ever. I turn to my left, and you're literally next to me. And I was like, "Oh, dude, Mose is right here. This is perfect." And you're the first person I saw when I got in the building. So I can't wait, man. I love center stage. I love GCW, and I'm sure you're excited, but even more so than that, just like your overall experience, just like with GCW, doing a lot of shows at this point with them.
Yeah, man, that was the goal. It's always right in this business. It's always like the next goal. That was the goal I gave up on. Probably, I don't know, like a year and a half or something. I just felt like I'm not gonna, get over that hump. Right? There's a lot of commentators. There's a lot of people that are in group chats that I'm not in, and the politics of it or something that I want my work and my talent, if you want to call it that. I want that to be enough, right? So like, I'm not the best. I wear a lot of hats, but I'm not the best politicker. I'm just not. I'm never gonna be. So it is when I finally, and I always gotta shout out Billy Starks, Kick-Ass Rebecca, Mouse, the BSB. They really helped make that happen in a big way. But thankfully, I'm pretty good at it. Dave Prazak liked me. Brett Lauderdale liked what I did. And yeah, I think I'm at, I don't know, 7 or 8 states. And then as you mentioned, bro, it's like Center Stage is always my favorite show to be a part of. Like the history of that building. Like we get to see people like my Atlanta peeps and Georgia peeps that I may not get to see at Action. I'm definitely going to see them at GCW. So it's always special to be in that building. So yeah, calling some action and knowing I'll get to see you maybe a little inebriated and having a good time. It's always nice.
Dude, it's such a fun atmosphere. Like I'm trying not to like pull the curtain back too much on anything, but like I think it's funny that like just for instance, I told this story before, but just for instance, this is how cool of an environment just like a GCW show is for anyone who hasn't gone, especially at Center Stage. So there's a parking garage that's like attached to the building. And after the show, like the wrestlers are just like hanging out there, doing whatever. And you'll see them directing traffic. Like Nick Gage will be like helping people like get out of the parking garage. Like they'll be like, all the cars lining up and they'll be like high-fiving fans on the way out and stuff. And it's like, you can like say what's up to your favorite wrestler on the way out of the parking lot. Like it's just like a cool experience. And yeah, it's I've got some really good memories there, and some bad ones actually, to be honest, but like mostly really good ones. So
yeah, same.
I want to know more about the bad memories now.
Same.
No,
we'll have to wait for the book.
Yeah, wait for the book.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's a really fun time, and yeah, those are special shows, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Is Haley going to be there again? It was good seeing her. I got to see her for the first time in forever last time. Also,
I know, man. Yeah, the infamous. You never know with Haley. Haley, if I'm at a show, she's probably there. Now, the bad news about Center Stage, and I'm happy you got to see her, my man, because the hotel we stay in, the first time GCW booked me for there, they put us up in this nice, it's like right next door. I don't know the name of the hotel, but it's like right there next to Center Stage. It's like super nice, super classy. You got a valet and all that, right? So quick story. The first time we stayed there, it was that weekend where they did Carolina, right? They did Carolina, I think on Friday, drove to Atlanta, did Atlanta Center Stage Saturday. So the Carolina show, the main event, I'm pretty sure it was Colby Carino and Cole Radrick in like a death match. I'm pretty sure that was the main. I could be wrong, but it was definitely ratty, a death match. So we're in this nice, a nice hotel. It's me, Haley, Brett Ison, Max Recon. Shout out Max Recon, and Cole Radrick. I think maybe Sean Campbell. Like we had a crew that time, but it was like, big size hotel room. It was really nice. But again, shout out Cole Radrick. He didn't want to bleed on the bed. So you had the main event man, Cole Radrick, taking one for the team. He didn't want to. He said, we're all like, just Cole, just lay down, man. You're like, you just had a hell of a match. You've been in the car for just lay down. And I'll never forget, Cole's wrapped himself in a hoodie and he's laying on the floor and he's like, guys, that bed's too nice. I don't want to get blood on it. So Cole Radrick slept on the floor and me and Haley got the bed that we were going to give Cole. But that hotel, again, is right there. So Haley's usually like, I'm going to go chill. I'll get food, like I'm not going to be at the venue, but she had a blast seeing you. Steph DeLander has been announced for that show. And that's the goal for me now. Like I'm with SDL. So you should see her, Jensen. We should be able to get her there if SDL's there.
She's out injured right now.
They announced her and Jimmy, I think. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but with Jimmy Lloyd and SDL, who knows?
hopefully she'll be back. Yeah, she got injured on the Australian tour. Matt Cardona.
Yep. That was wild, right?
Yeah, that
was
ain't
wild.
Matt Cardona out there. Yes. You posted a few things about this on your socials. We were talking a little bit off air about it, but the NGW event that had
Right.
Breezango against Matt Cross and Penta El Zaramedo. What a duo that is, by the way. Matt Cross and Penta against Breezango. What was this show like? What was that main event like?
NGW, for those that don't know, it's basically a super indie. Like, it's weird saying that for, Knoxville, Tennessee. Obviously the history in Knoxville. There's so much, right, for wrestling, but it's this awesome promotion that when I first graduated college back in 2017, I went as a fan. I went as a fan to see, it was Cody Rhodes versus Matt Cross. Cody Rhodes, Stephen Jensen, there I said his name. I met Cody Rhodes that day. That was when he was doing like the Bullet Club stuff in New Japan. I know Jensen will probably remember. Anyone else? They did that really funny press conference kind of early in that run for New Japan, and it was just hilarious. And I talked to Cody about it. It was just cool, right? Just chit chatting with him. And over the years, it just kind of worked, man. That was a goal, right? To work NGW because these shows, and they had COVID hit, and they had their announce team kind of, take a break and all that, which respect. So I looked into it in a way, just they needed a commentator and they thought of me. So now they have these shows, right, where you're going to get local guys, right? You're getting like Caden Sade and, you'll see Mike Cobb and Kenji Bria and these guys that, you'll see like in, Tennessee, Georgia, Carolina shows. But then you're also getting, like you said, you're getting Matt Cross, you're getting Penta, you're getting like, the first, our last show before this one, the one we're talking about, which was last weekend, Breeze's debut, he wins the title. It was Breeze versus Matt Cross. And so there's all these crazy matchups, right? And that was a weird day because it ended up being Son of Havoc for the majority of that match. It was Son of Havoc and Penta versus Dirty Breeze. I don't know. We were trying not to get sued, I think. So we called him Dirty Breeze. It was weird, man. It's always the wildest because, again, like, Matt Cross is such a nice guy. It's weird that Matt Cross remembers me. And, like, you've got Facade and Danny Moe and just a great locker room. The Natterday Saint, shout out Brad. Bradley Prescott the fourth, Adam Slade, who might be the tag champs of NGW, depending on who you talk to. Don't Google it. So it is. It's always a fun, man. It's such a fun place. And then they just opened they just opened a bar one door down from the locker room. So Brad's like, hey man, let's go to this bar, and it's like a pour your own, one of those. So me and Bradley Prescott are just having some beers after the show, and like it is, man. It's just a really cool vibe. We don't run a lot. NGW, they never run during the cold seasons. They don't want or the cold months, I should say. They don't want to, risk fans and the talent, with bad weather. So they don't run a ton of shows a year, around 4 or 5 at most. But yeah, anyone, the next time they announce, I don't know yet. It's the cold months, as I said. So I would assume our next one may not be until maybe like March, April. It'll be a minute. But yeah, if you can get to Knoxville for NGW, man, do it, because you just never know. We've had Eric Bischoff there in the last year. We've had, I'm trying to think of just all the names we've seen. I mean, in recent years, they've had Ultimo Dragon.
I was about
there.
to say Ultimo Dragon was the one I was thinking.
Yep.
I remember Ultimo Dragon ran against a Sup show one time because
Yes.
I remember having to make the decision of going to NGW or going to Sup one time. It was specifically because Ultimo Dragon was on that show. I went to Sup because I was too loyal, but I remember some of like the Sup regulars not being there and me seeing them at the next Sup show, and they were like, man, I had to go to the Ultimo Dragon show.
Yeah, they had Ultimo, they've had Tajiri. I mean, they do. So yeah. You never know what you're gonna get. Shout out NG Dub. They take care of me. Like, I'm just a commentator, right? And they go out of their way for me. And man, I've worked for places for years, right, that still don't really, make me, you're not really a part of the team per se. But yeah, NGW, just I can't say enough about that crew. And yeah, that we go. It's on High Spots. Like anyone I know. High Spots, they don't, may not have a ton of up-to-date talent, of up-to-date shows. If you're on High Spots right now, you're probably doing shoot interviews and this and that, which they have a lot of great content. But go back, High Spots is worth whatever they're $9.99, whatever it is, a month or two to go back and just watch these NGW shows, man, because they're nuts.
AGW came in, that's where like Breeze returned
Yep.
to wrestling at.
It
And I was
was.
very surprised. I was like, wait, Breeze is back, and then it happened to be everyone sees the thumbs up bubble that just
What
like
was
popped
that?
up on my screen. Oh, I can do.
I know.
Look at this gimmick. No, watch. Hold on.
What is this?
Yeah, if you have like a Mac, see, I can do fireworks.
What?
What is happening right now?
I can do balloons. Hold on, see if the balloons work. You guys gotta watch In the Weeds, Jensen. This is an In the Weeds bit right here.
Yeah, Jensen,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
I'm working a shoot job. That's what I'm busy doing.
This is
The
this
thumbs
is
down
awesome.
doesn't. Yeah, the
Yeah.
thumbs down doesn't always work, but the heart will work sometimes. Wait, let's see.
Balloons
yeah.
are fantastic.
Yes,
I
yes. So
mean-
we did. There goes the hearts right there.
That's cool.
Wizard.
we
Yeah.
we discovered this, and this has become a whole thing on In the Weeds. So sometimes when I do the thumbs up, the little bubble will pop up, and it'll. There you go, everyone. I
mean,
forgot
we
how
can go down a
Bree-
whole rabbit hole,
Yeah.
augmented reality, and like my thoughts on that in the future, and integrating that with everyday world. I mean, that's just part of it with like seamlessly. I don't even want to go down that right now, but yeah. Anyway, we need to.
I
want to
do like custom ones.
Same.
I want to do like custom ones. Like if I hold up like
Crotch
the one,
chop
I need like a
ones.
Roman Reigns to like pop up. Oh yeah, crotch chop would be
Ooh.
good. Yeah,
That'd be
I want to do like
sick.
custom ones, but it won't let me.
Cody's
So, I gotta
fireworks
figure
go
that
off behind me.
Yeah,
when I do
fireworks
No,
go off.
absolutely.
Whoa.
No,
Oh.
not doing that at all.
Oh, that'd
No.
be so sick.
He's a nice guy. I like him.
You do this and it goes black and white, so you do like an NWO promo, like one of those old.
That's
black and white
good.
vignettes.
I do like that.
Yeah,
one. I do
they're gonna
like
take that one from you, Jensen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Hey, you mentioned BP4. How many natties do you think he can legitimately drink in like I don't know, within the time he's awake to the time he goes to sleep?
Brother.
Like how many total do you think he drinks?
I mean, whatever number I give you, I feel like I'm going to undercut him is the thing. Like right now, Bradley Prescott IV is an animal who just wants to drink and he wants to gamble a lot of like high amounts of money. I mean, me and this guy get talking about our part. Like I don't talk about my gambling with anybody, but like Bradley Prescott IV is in those back rooms in Vegas, like just throwing money around, bro. So like, I'm going to say, if we're talking natty lights, he's probably going to put down a whole case. I mean, for sure, a whole case by himself, probably more. Like, he doesn't play around. I mean, I said, the pour your own beer thing. It did not take long for Brad to hit the limit, whatever the limit was of like, okay, you've had enough for a minute. Brad was there, and he was like, I'm fine. This is outrageous. BP 24.
I love that. I very much respect that entire
I love him.
answer.
I love him so much.
That's pretty fun. That's pretty funny.
I can't.
Yeah.
All right, what are you drinking, Mose? You guys with your beers. I can't do it. I can't.
I know, man. I was in a fraternity in college. So my early 20s, it was like, I mean, it was Still Reserve. It was, it was Natty. It was King Cobra. It was, we're just drinking. Now I'm 33. Bro. Like I am, like, what did I drink? We were in Michigan. We went up for the Notre Dame USC game. I've been drinking cider, bro. I've been drinking nice apple ciders. I got a caramel apple cider. I can drink some whiskey. I mean, I can drink whatever. Again, Still Reserve. You know what I mean? Like I drink that. That was my training wheel drink. I could drink whatever. I'm just not a big drinker anymore. I feel like I get like if I'm at a show, right? If we're like at center stage, I'm gonna have a few drinks, right? But if we're at home, man, if I have a couple, I'm just tired and I want to go to bed and like. But yeah, in my fridge right now, I'd say we've got some ciders. I brought some ciders back from Michigan. And I've got Haley's a big gin drinker. When she does want to drink, we got some gin, but we're just not very drinkers unless we're, at the bar or kind of on the road celebrating.
We're all washed.
Or if we're with
We all just
Brad.
wanna
If I'm with
sleep.
if I'm with Brad, I have to drink. But if I'm like right now, if I'm drinking a little bit talking to you guys, I'm ready for a shower and we're just gonna call this a day.
Water, everybody drink
Yes.
water and stay
Water,
hydrated.
water right here also.
There you go.
I like Prime a little bit. I don't talk about it a lot because I know like the pulp, but I like Prime. I drink it. I like the flavors. I'm here for it.
Oh,
Okay.
You're gonna get Jensen. Go ahead,
I'm,
Jensen.
I'm sorry, I do.
Okay. So I have not tried it yet, but I've heard it's fantastic. I even saw Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, who I very much respect. I saw him do kind of somewhat of a blind taste test on the spot for it, and he gave it really high ratings, which brings me to my next point. Okay, so Logan Paul versus Dillon Danis. All right. So Logan got the W. How did you feel about that whole thing? Because by the time people see this interview, me and Jeremy will have talked about it as one of our topics for the show. So like people will hear more of my thoughts about it. But how did you feel about the fight itself, the build up, the trolling, really whatever you want to say about it, then like, kind of the fight after the fight and kind of just the whole experience?
I was hoping Mike Perry would fight somebody. That was what I was hoping. I was hoping Mike Perry, if Mike Perry just fought himself even, I would have enjoyed that more. I don't know, man. It's kind of like, it's what I expected, I guess. Like, when you have these kind of fights, and as you both know, especially Jensen, like, I've grew up a big boxing and MMA fan. Like I've definitely seen, I don't know what you would call it, how things have changed. So I know the trolling and all that's a part of the game, but this one just didn't do, and I get behind some trolling. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm a hater. I love being petty at times. It's fantastic. I just felt like that was the game, right? The game wasn't about the fight. Like, it was the build up, and now that we're here, it felt like, oh, okay, well, now what? Because it was this thing, you know what I mean? It was just like, it reminded me. So local wrestling, there's a local fed that I used to work for. I still go and hang out, but like they're kind of doing the same thing right now, and it's like it's a shoot. Like I'm not even lying to you. These guys are on Facebook saying just awful, terrible things about, and they mean it. Like,
which
it's really weird. It's Resolute.
I remember.
You almost came down and did some calm with me there.
Yeah.
So, they got their big show, their big Halloween show next Friday, Crossville, Tennessee. Bro, they're hating. Like, there is just so much hate between these two guys, and it's all real. Like I'll tell you, like there is a 8.5 minute shoot promo, however you want to call it. 8.5 minutes, guys. 8.5, almost 9 minutes. This guy is just hating, like on the dude's mother, on his girlfriend, on him, like and I'm just
on
saying,
Facebook.
Yeah,
like,
I'll send
they
you
put
the
on
link,
Facebook.
Bro.
Like that's so personal. They're like, I'll make sure their family sees it.
They're tagging each other. So, like, from the fans' perspective, like this is a great, and it's a great build. But like again, the behind the scenes, like I can tell you for a fact, like some messages have been sent, and like people aren't happy. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I'm on the road all next weekend, but I will be there on Friday just to see, because they are like, it's one thing to say stuff about you and your girlfriend. It's another thing to say it and literally tag your government name on Facebook, bro.
That's awesome.
In your gimmick, right? It's I forgot to mention that. In his gimmick, like mask, full gimmick, 8.5, 9 minute shoot, like just unloading. Dude, it's wild.
That's incredible.
It reminded me of that fight.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's
like
great.
we've emptied kind of that match isn't for another week. Like, what are we gonna do now? Like, we're ready for the match now. We got to wait 10 days, 9 days, whatever it is. Like, brother, we don't. What are we doing when it comes? We better. I mean, I better see. Like, I want to see a fist fight. Like, we got to see. Just Hardway, everything Hardway in that match now, because like I can tell you, one of these guys, I think every day he's going to post a promo, and the locals are rambunctious right now.
Oh, I love knowing that. So like the locals are like, they're all in. So this is going to be like a packed house. What's a packed house like as far as like amount of fans you think are going to be witnessing this live?
It's a cool venue. Like anyone in wrestling knows. Half the battles of venue, and Resolute Caleb got very lucky. It's a little venue, but yeah, man. I mean, he can fit. Like, we're talking like standing room only, bro. He could fit like 150 people in there, probably, like
I love that.
give or
I love
take.
that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
bro.
dude,
Yeah,
a
like
local build, like get like 100 or so people in there that are all invested in it. Everyone has to be standing up on the ring. I love that. That's very sub graps ish. Like that's very much my like I'll take that over like some giant arena like all day. So
it's gonna be, again, we got to get there. Like we got another week to keep everybody like invested in it. But they are, man. Like, I'm not lying. I can't remember the last time, bro. We're getting like, these guys are getting like 50, 60 comments, you know what I mean, on their like 8-minute video. And it's,
you got to send me this.
What can I say?
We need to link this to like the video, or so. Can we do that, Jeremy? Can we put?
I'm looking this up right now.
Depending, I guess, on the content of it. I mean, if I'm very interested now, because I mean, we can kind of help build this match, maybe. Dude,
I think I'm gonna say I'll send it to. I think me and Jensen, are we Facebook friends?
I think so. I never use Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook at all. So I went to their videos.
Okay.
It's not under videos. I'm looking under posts.
Me and Jensen. I'm gonna send it to Jensen right now.
Okay.
Because I literally I dropped it in the KOBK chat last night. I just had to see what the boys thought about it.
Oh man.
Yeah, you're right though. And it's also too, right? Small town. What do I always say? Wrestling's more real the smaller the town. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a small southern town, baby. This is like, this is real as it gets right now.
I love that.
They're just talking about people. Everyone has slept with everybody, and
yes,
this is good. Dude, this sounds right up your alley, Jeremy. Like your reality TV.
So look,
crossing over.
Yes, reality TV world. I'm all for it. The Dillon Danis, and people have at this point heard me say this. The Danis stuff is like, at first when he's doing this stuff, it's like kind of funny. Like, oh, okay, he's building the fight. But then like the more you do it, it becomes a little like turn off for me. It's like, really, you don't have any better material. Hey, being a big wife guy, like hearing somebody attack a fiance or significant other like that, it's like, oh, that's a little much kind of thing there, especially when you do it so much. And then you get to the damn fight and you land 9 punches. Like, if you're gonna talk all of that, you gotta throw something here. So that's really
I totally agree. Totally could not agree more.
I'm watching this video right now, by the way.
I sent it to him, bro.
I'll finish it after the
this was like you're gonna need time. You're gonna need time. Because like Jeremy said, it literally is like you're sleeping with everybody's wife, and it's messy.
A lot of comments. People look invested.
A lot of comments. We gotta think too, man. It's small town, so like a lot of these people know these dudes in real life too. So it's that weird blend of like it's just a weird energy when we're talking like you mentioned the sup stuff, right? Like it is like that, but the thing about the sup crowd is that was a very that mix of smart wrestling fans with those people that kind of just show up and they're like, oh, this is not a mimosa day. And it's that weird cool mix, right? This is that where it's like Hatfields and McCoys, almost like that's my cousin. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing tied up in everything else with wrestling. There's nothing like it. Like I don't know if it's good or bad, but there's nothing like it.
So does like the whole town, for instance, like know who Cousin Condry is, like under the mask?
Oh yeah,
like they all.
I mean, Condry's definitely kind of up near more Nashville area, but like it's him and Draven Lee, Cousin Condry, they're 2 workers, and
yeah,
it's Draven is a very well known local. Like he's done a local circuit for years. I met him at Resolute years ago. They both have worked. That's Draven. Yeah, they've both worked like Nashville area, Tullahoma. So they're both like people know them in real life and wrestling life, and it's that thing as a fan, right, where we kind of all feel like we know somebody even when we don't. So it's really weird when you're like, I see him at the Sitco and I go see him wrestle. So I think like it's just a weird dynamic with small town wrestling that like, again, it is nothing like. I can't even tell you guys the DMs the phone calls I've gotten today about this match, and they're like, people are like, is this like how much of that? Do you know these guys? Is this? And I'm like, bro, every word they're saying they mean. Like I can confirm that, bro. This ain't. Yeah, that's Condry, cousin Condry. There, bro. It's
good.
got the people talking. Yeah, this is good. This is like Caleb,
this is gonna be the
Caleb
other
who runs it.
spotlight, like in a couple weeks, like on our show. Like this
I look forward to come back the next time and us just dissect this match, and I can tell you what, because I'm gonna be there. I will for sure be there early. Like I can't wait to see how this unfolds. I have so many questions, you know what I mean? And I know like, I've seen it unfold, and I have questions.
This is straight out of. I'm sure you guys have seen the South Park wrestling episode,
Yes.
where
Absolutely.
it's just the theater stuff of like you got my girlfriend pregnant, and then they just draw it in off of the promos, and they got the animated Vince McMahon and everything there.
It's exactly right.
I love how in that episode, like Edge, like in John Cena, they hit the ropes and they're like, "Whoa!" They come back. Like they try to make it look so funny, but like, oh man, that was such a great episode. I remember it called WTF.
WTF, classic.
So good.
This is how you're gonna draw in the locals. You gotta get the local storyline going there.
And they got it going. That's the weekend. I'll be there Friday hanging out, and then Saturday 28th we're having our big Halloween show at TWE, and then very excited. I know we got a little bit of time left, but very excited. October 29th, H2O debut for me, bro. The first time I'm getting a call, a deathmatch tournament. First time I've worked at H2O before, but that was for GCW Settlement Series, and I called. I hate that I can't remember. It's been a couple years, but they have kind of like a next up, like an action next up. H2O, they have their next crew, like our stars kind of being made kind of show. And I got to call a couple of matches there. Shout out Matt Tremont. So yeah, for me, like that weekend's very big. And then as Jensen said, leading in the next Saturday is that GCW show. So within a week, I'm gonna get to work up in Jersey for Matt, and then get to kick it with you and GCW at Center Stage. So that for me, like 2023, like bookings I had way more bookings last year, but I've made more money this year thanks to wrestling. I think I'm having more fun this year because I've let go of a lot of the why not me, right? Like we all feel that, I think, but it's been a lot of that for me the last year or two of just trying to grind and do the right thing. And you see these, like, why not me? Why have I not kind of gotten that kind of shot? So 2023 has been really, 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 really cool to kind of knock these things off and do well in those positions. Cause man, like, as you guys know, you could do a good job and people are going to hate on you. So you do a bad job, they're really going to hate on you. So yeah, just very thankful for thankful for you guys and just kind of everyone that's ever said my name or anything. Like I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, for real.
Oh, for sure, man. Like, I'm glad to hear that you're going to be doing stuff with H2O. Cause I remember, that tournament you're talking about, like the kind of like the futures that like they're talking about. I don't remember if I don't remember if Austin Luke won it last time, but I remember that tournament. I know Austin Luke is like one of their main guys now.
Such a good dude, Austin Luke.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I like what they're doing in H2O a lot.
Oh, bro, so much talent, right? I mean, like guys that are so young right now and so good. And I think it's something we were seeing at TWE. I want to shout them out right now. It's been a great year for TWE, but H2O is that same way, right? Of hungry young talent, but guys like Austin Luke, guys like Dylan McKay, and of course Marcus Mathers, who you've heard so much about the last couple of years. These young talents that are here now, but like in another couple of years, they're really going to be talked about.
Well, people might not even know, like Matt Tremont's the one behind that company, so like right there is like a huge. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like right there alone is like a stamp of approval, like that you're like Tremont trained, and like because Marcus Mathers is a guy who like I mean I love Wasted Youth. I love everyone he just mentioned. There's so much young talent there, but like Mathers especially felt like he just like hit the scene and like really like everyone kind of knew about him. It felt like almost immediately, and really started popping up everywhere. And yeah, him and McKay are like still kind of. I wish we got more of them in GCW. Like they pop up occasionally, but like if they were just seen, that's you can say that about so many teams, obviously, but they're a team that really like if they were just seen by more eyes, I just feel like they're like can't miss everywhere.
And you're saying Marcus, I know he's got a big match with Price coming up, Alec Price. So yeah, like you said, man, you've really seen Marcus the last couple years. Really, and you feel it now, like really kind of hit that stride. And I think Austin's that same way, that maybe by the summer, or you know what I mean, like the next few months, I think more and more promotions. I mean, I know for KOBK, we had venue issues for, you know, my plan, right? We're going to bring down an H2O car. That's been our goal. And like from the jump, honestly, you know, we want to bring down Matt and these guys. So excuse me, I can say for us, like for 2024, you know, KOBK shows, we're going to try to get these guys down. So hopefully, you know, you'll be have the opportunity to see a lot of these guys down south a little more.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
I want to ask you about your friendship with Darren McCarty, because you tweeted that you were like best friends with Darren McCarty. And so ever since he became involved in wrestling, I wanted to talk to him. I got a chance to talk to him. He was on our show before Impact, one of the Impact shows earlier this year. And I'm a big hockey fan, big Avalanche fan. They had a huge rivalry with the Red Wings back in the day. They did. And so I was like, man, talking to McCarty would be like cool, but like weird as an Avs fan. But I was all in. I wore my Avs jersey during the interview and everything. Like he fully respected it too. And I had like a really nice exchange with him after the interview. And like I've interviewed a lot of people on this show and on other shows. Like nothing has struck me more than like that interview with McCarty of like, if I could tell like 12-year-old me who grew up to be this person, like, you got to interview Darren McCarty, and like you're kind of like peers with him, and it kind of cool with him after hating him my entire childhood with this Avs and Red Wings rivalry, hating him. And like he was totally cool, totally respectful and stuff. And so I just want to put over Darren McCarty as like the nicest dude, and I would not expect it, you know, being the hater that I was growing up. But your kind of friendship with Darren McCarty, how'd you kind of get involved and link up with him?
It was because of Sean. It was because SPO. Sean, we lost. You know, I think the last time maybe I talked to you guys, been time for his funeral. So it was SPO, man. I had told him, because I know what you're saying, Jeremy. Like I grew up obviously in Tennessee. We didn't have the Preds till I was, you know, a little bit older, 9 or 10, something like that, 11 maybe. So for years, I just watched so I remember those series, right? I was watching just as a fan of hockey. Like I didn't really like the Avalanche or the Red Wings, but I vividly remember, you know, those just grimy, just like we're talking about fights, bro. Those were like, we wish we could get some of those fights, right? Like in the boxing ring or in the cage, like. So, yeah, I know that feeling you're talking about. Like, I told Sean, and for months, you know, we'd talk, and SPO was just like, I got to get you and Darren together, man. You guys are going to love each other. Then it was the weekend before Sean passed. We were just chilling behind TWE, and Darren McCarty's walking around. And like you said, I'm just like, that guy's a killer. Like, I've seen him, like, you know, the Happy Gilmore kind of vibe of like he took his skate off and tried to stab a guy kind of vibes. But like you said, man, Sean was like, Darren, you meet my boy, and right away just super nice. And it's one thing, and we've all met people that we're fans of, or like, you know, you just a set celebrity. And Darren, I think, is the only person I've met that he made me feel like he genuinely cared and wanted to hear me just say, like, you helped me kind of become a hockey, like, you know, that violence and just those rivalries kind of got me into hockey. And then Preds really picked that up when I had a local team. And he just made me feel very, very assured about it. And just was a cool moment. And it is, man, like, he was the first person, I think, Sean's funeral, the first 3 people I saw were Cole Radrick, Darren McCarty, and Hoodfoot, and all 3 just gave me a tight hug. And and we just kind of talked about Sean. So yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I miss him. We just celebrated his birthday. We did a cool SPO show up in New Albany. Had his daughter there and his mom. It was a really great time. So yeah. I want to shout out Sean again because man, he would laugh thinking about how much we just sit around and talk about him now. He's like, you just hear him kind of giggling. But that's something I'll always remember about him is like just so given right away. Like, yeah, come meet Darren McCarty. And then Darren is latched on to that. And when I was up in Detroit for Flophouse, Darren was just so kind and welcoming. Same way with ICW. ICW was a good get for me this year. It was last minute, but I got to ring announce and do a little bit of commentary for ICW in Detroit. And Darren signed my jersey that day, and he signed it KOBK affiliated. And that's that, like you're saying, you know what I mean? Like the 8-year-old me is just like, what?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was insane because I'm taking a risk wearing this Avs jersey to
most
famous writers, and he doesn't know me. He has no idea who I am, and he could come on here. I just reached out to him. He did follow me on Twitter, but I just reached out to him. I was like, hey, do you want to come on our show to talk about Impact and everything? But he's no idea who I actually am, and he could come on there and be like, you fucking asshole wearing this jersey, this is disrespectful type of thing. He's like, no, I respect that, man. You got to support your team. That's what it's all about. And and we just had this nice exchange afterwards, and just see again to 8-year-old me who couldn't stand this man. It's like, this dude's awesome. And now we're kind of peers. Yeah, it's crazy how kind of the world will bring you together and everything. He's very open about his life struggles and everything too.
Yes.
It's cool to see him doing so well. And if you are a hockey fan, go watch. There's a 30. I don't know if it's 30 for 30. There's a documentary on ESPN about that rivalry, and you can see how really intense. You want to talk about blood rivalries. I know that there are a lot of big ones nowadays. Hockey doesn't have huge ones anymore. The Canadian ones are pretty big, but blood rivalries, it didn't get any bigger than Avs and Red Wings back in the day. And those guys trying to like you said, stab each other with skates and everything.
Yeah, dude. He's a gamer though. I totally make sense that Darren would respect the Avs jerseys because he is, man. He is a true gamer, someone that just loves the sport of competition, just wants to compete. You see it now with him in wrestling, right? He's managing Thomas Oliver Vendetta a lot. TOV, want to shout out Tommy Vendetta, great guy. And it's one of those cool Darren McCarty stories, right? So all of us in the KOBK crew, we're big, especially Brett Eisen, man. Me and Eisen are huge hockey fans, and we that documentary you talked about, ESPN, we stayed up. Me and Eisen stayed up when it dropped and just watched it. We were on the road one night. So yeah, man, being able to talk to him about that and then having that moment again of he's like I'm KOBK, I'm affiliated with you guys. And then it's that surrealness that you get. And then you see him out there managing and, just taking bundles of light tubes to the head. He doesn't put the hands up. He just eats it. And the first thing he says to me, so I saw him a day or two after he got, he gets cut open, just eats it, right? Just like a G. And what does he tell me? It's the coolest Heater story I think I've to tell Heater when it happened. He came up to me, Darren McCarty walks dead right up to me and he just goes, did you see the bundle shot? And I go, yeah, man, I saw. And he goes, you know what I thought when I'm laying on the ground there bleeding? I said, I don't know, Darren McCarty. What did you think, bud? And he said, always the hard way. He thought of hard way Heater. Yeah, he goes, I think of Heater, and I just think always the hard way. And I'm like, what? No. But to your point though, again, he wanted me to tell Heater. He's like, you need. I said, I'm texting him right now. I want him to know. But that's Darren, man, and he is. If Darren McCarty, man, he's on a show around if you're a fan or not, please go say something to him. You're not gonna find probably a more just polite and just nice, man. In a time when no one's nice anymore, that's just D-Mac's just the nicest.
What ICW show were you at? Because he came in and did stuff with the Kirks, but I can't remember what all. Do you remember what?
The one I did?
Yeah.
That would have been, gosh, it would have been NHB. Oh man, hold on, I can tell you. It's not been that long ago. It would
Yeah.
have been, hold on, August maybe. Yeah, so it was August 5th. I don't know the number, but it was August 5th. It was ICW NHB. It was their Detroit show. We had Tremont was on it. They did Justin Kyle on there. I think that Justin Kyle and Isaiah Broner was a match we had on that. It was a real sneaky card that I think it kind of got lost maybe in SummerSlam weekend. Because there's some really good violent, just good chains matches, and you get to see, Darren and Tommy and those guys in Detroit, and Malcolm, MM3. Big shout out, big MM3 guy. I just, like I said, IC Dub was a big get for me. I really wanted that to add. And MM3 did it. Like MM3 came up to me the night before and was like at Flophouse, like, bro, you here tomorrow? Yeah, I'm here. Well, because I want to say IC Dub may have used. I know MM3 and his dad. They have a promotion in Detroit, and I think they maybe have used the venue that they kind of used or something like one of those things. So MM3 kind of put me in. So I just can't say enough about Malcolm. That Detroit crew, man, those are great talents and great human beings. I can't say enough about just that Detroit. That everybody in that Detroit van that you usually get with Darren and Tommy and Malcolm and. Just great humans.
Yeah, it's a great company. I mean, like there's a lot of talent you just mentioned there that I would want thoughts on. Like, I mean, so you mentioned like Tommy Vendetta, for instance. He's a guy who I feel like does not get enough shine still. Like if you know about him, like if you know he's gonna have like the best death match on the show of like probably full death matches, and like his will still stand out. The dude will do stuff into like. He's like innovative with like panes of glass. He'll figure out ways of like doing cool stuff that you haven't seen before, which I guess is the name of the game for deathmatch wrestling at this point in a lot of senses, is like trying to figure out something that people haven't gotten like numb to that like is going to get that reaction. I feel like he's really good at that, especially I know that he's like kind of pivoted like his character a bit lately, but
a little bit. Yeah.
But like watching it, I know he, for the longest time, at least when I discovered him, he was always wrestling in like what looked like long johns, just like white long johns. And I would always be like, this is such an obvious choice because they're going to be red by the end of his match every time. Like that's like you see the change in color throughout the match. But yeah, that's a good shout out. That's a guy that I'd be interested to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Thomas, great guy, great fun guy to talk to. Since we're talking about ICW, please go back and watch on IWTV MM3, Malcolm Monroe and Sean Campbell, one of my boys. They have this weird chemistry, man. When those two are in a match together, I mean, it's just fireworks. And they put a crazy one on in the pit a couple months ago for ICW. So yeah. Malcolm, Thomas Oliver, Vendetta, Darren McCarty. Just that whole crew, man. I thank them, and yeah, I would love to hear you guys, or somebody get Thomas Oliver Vendetta down here. I'd love to hear you guys chop it up with him.
Yeah, I'd be interested in him, and then also a guy that I've talked to just like a little bit, but never interviewed. And you mentioned him is Justin Kyle. Is he out right now with injury?
So Justin Kyle he's like a real person in real life that has like real life stuff. So. A lot of his schedule deals with that. I want to say he maybe had a career change kind of recently, but I know he's doing. He just did maybe a Merge Midwest show.
Okay.
Obviously, it just very sparse. I'm not sure if it's a time or a want or a mix, but Justin, not in the ring a lot, but when he's there, he's still got that attitude. He's still got that presence, right? And like I said, that show. The ICW show from SummerSlam weekend. It was him and Broner, man, and they went at it. They really did,
dude. And I love the reason I asked because I haven't been seeing Justin Kyle often, as like nearly as often as I had been. So I was like kind of wondering where he'd been at. But I love.
I can tell you. I was gonna say I can tell you he did get hurt up until that Detroit show. It was something to do. I want to say his shoulder, or it was a bad injury kind of thing. That's when he was definitely out for like, gosh, I want to say maybe 8 months, almost a year kind of vibe. It was a bad injury. So he may be still dealing with that a little bit, but I know he's back a little bit. But you're right. I mean, he was he was gone there for a minute, and that definitely was a very serious. I want to say he told me that it was like maybe like everything like ligament wise kind of got ripped off, and then he had to like build it back kind of vibe. It was gnarly.
Yeah, dude. And for people that don't know Justin Kyle, like if you're a fan of mixed martial arts and of pro wrestling, like he's a perfect guy to become a fan of, because like he comes out to Sandstorm, he does like the Vanderlei Silva thing, like his pads are like his knee pads and kick pads are like, I think they're the Struggles logo, but it's like the Pancrase logo symbol that they have. Like he basically has like the Pancrase logos on him, but like it's like he's had wars with guys like Cruel and everybody, Brett Eisen. I mean, like those guys will all go there and kill each other, which is I'm a big Justin Kyle fan. And also, speaking of Brett Eisen, how is Brett doing?
Brett Eisen, he's doing great. Anyone that follows him on social media, he's got a puppy, or he's getting Bishop is his dog's name. Always gonna be a puppy to me. Doing a lot better, man. Keep up with TWE on IWTV. Obviously, when we get going again for KOBK, Brett's going to be there. He's wrestling. It's him versus Tank coming up next month in November for ICW in Chattanooga. So yeah, you'll be seeing a little bit of Brett. He's kind of at that point where he just wants to be at places that he really just gets to kind of have fun at. This with Bishop, that's the KOBK Prince. He just can't be on the road when you got a pup and the amount of joy he gets out of just sitting and watching like TMNT with his puppy. Like I've not seen Brett this happy in years. So doing well and really, really excited. I'm gonna say it again. That match with Tank going to be very special next month for sure.
Mose, appreciate you joining us tonight. Let everybody know what you got coming up and where they can follow, where they can support you at.
Please follow me at Mose KOBK. Please watch this Friday, October 20th. It'll be on IWTV. Action, we're live streaming. Action live stream. That'll be October 20th. And then please, anyone, go watch whatever you can. October 28th. TWE Nightmare on Dayton Boulevard, October 29th, Matt Tremont's Deathmatch Tournament, H2O, and November 4th, GCW, back at Center Stage, CCC, or no, it's a lot of C's, a lot of yeses. So, yeah, thank you guys. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys, for real.
Always a pleasure to have you on and just bullshitting, chopping it up.
Yeah, bro.
Usual. Always good. Thank you, Mose. Appreciate it, man. Guys, we will be right back here on the Spotlight. We're back. Big thanks to Mose, as always, for joining us. Appreciate him. He's always very gracious, kind with his time. Anytime we just need him to be like, hey, you want to come on, talk about stuff, let everybody know what you got going on, tell any fun stories. He's always around. So we appreciate Mose. Everyone go support him. Everyone go follow him. Go check out the work he's doing with Action. He'll be at GCW next month. Calling a bunch of different H2O, calling a bunch of ICW, calling a bunch of different stuff. Mose is always a busy man. Appreciate his work. Appreciate his work ethic. Guys, we will be back next week with a brand new show, brand new interview, brand new guest, brand new Jensen hating on LA Knight. I am sure he's going to win that title. And when he does, I cannot wait to rub it into Jensen's face. Yeah. Thanks for everything in the chat today. All y'all love, all your support, all your super chats. Leave a thumbs up on the video if you've not done that already. Thank you guys very much for listening. Go to Fightful.com. Check out all the news stories we got going on. Subscribe to Fightful Select. FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business. Go over to Fightful Overbooked. That's our sister site that myself and Joel Pearl kind of curate and put together. We had In the Weeds yesterday with myself and Joel, Tasha Steeles, future Impact Knockouts champion, former Impact Knockouts champion, former Impact Knockouts tag team champion, future Impact Knockouts tag team champion alongside Deonna Purrazzo. She was on the show yesterday. The interview as a solo will be up in about an hour. So I believe that goes up at 1 o'clock on Fightful Overbooked. So go over to FightfulOverbooked.com, subscribe to that channel, please. That would really mean a lot to us. All right, guys, we'll be back next week. Everyone, take care. Have a good Thursday. Take care of yourself this weekend, and we'll see y'all next week.